Can I
That's all
want to
right.
say some?
Don't be sorry at all. And like I tell people, you got to be a squeaky wheel. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I was going to say too about all the stuff you're gathering. I mean, I don't know if there's another more private group or a couple people or something. If you could, to get all this stuff together, it must be a big job. Maybe you could have like some shared Google Drive. Well, I know there's something in the Facebook group or
okay.
something where you could start dumping things in areas
And then
so
other
maybe
people
people could
could do
help.
some research and help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that'd be
help
great.
like put them together in areas of these are these things, these are these dates or something. Because it's just, I know
Okay.
it's a lot like when you just gather tons of information to try
Okay.
to organize it. Maybe that's
Yeah,
something.
and people have volunteered to help, and we started a deal, and then oh God, this.
I know.
But but I think we're getting closer to being able to do that. But
And also there was a farrier that came out today and I said, "Oh, hey, can I just watch?" So I kind of like kept a couple horses away and I had a million questions, but I only asked a few, and I was watching
uh-huh.
him.
Oh,
And
good.
I said, I said, I asked about the heels. He said, "Oh, well, people think you should grow the heels out when the heels are underrun, but that's the opposite. You need to cut them back or when and I said, "Oh, okay." I didn't like insert
Yeah,
anything. I just
yeah,
said, "Oh, do you find that works when you do that?" That's what I said.
yeah.
Um, and he said he kind of didn't fully answer me. He just said that, well, this I think it's been helping. This horse had some navicular changes, and I think it's been helping. And I was like, okay. And then I also noticed him filing away part of the outside of the hoof, uh, the lower part. And he also mentioned to her that the flares are looking better. So that was my that was my observation of the day. And
Kim,
he just didn't. Yes.
I just wanted to say something. You were brave for doing that, but if you try to talk to any barefoot trimmer or farrier, like we have many come to the barn I'm at,
Hmm.
they completely shut down
I'm
and
sure.
get the hell out of the barn as soon as you start asking questions. It's amazing because they
No,
don't have.
yeah. Well, I did it very nicely and from a place not like of knowing anything, just like curious and but
No,
I
it
know
doesn't
because in my
matter.
life I ask a lot of questions in life, so I've definitely gotten that kind of response from people
But
before.
don't, yeah, yeah, don't feel like the more I watch farriers and the more I just ask some just general stuff because they don't, a lot of them don't know I do the trimming because they're never around when I do it, so they never see me doing it. It's
Yeah.
amazing that they cannot give you an absolute scientific reason for what they're doing. It's just
Yeah. Yeah. I was
usually
curious what he would
this is how
say.
I was. Yeah, this is just how I was trained to do it. It was just passed
Hmm.
on.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
good luck with that, trying to learn anything from them other than
No,
watching
no,
how
no, no. No,
you can learn how to use the tools by watching a farrier.
no, I was just curious what he would do because, like I said, I'm so new that like uh, I really just recently started trying to really understand and came across Linda's stuff. And then I delved into everything. And I actually have taken like a little less time for my brain, not looking at it every day this week because I've been doing nothing but that for a few weeks. And
Overwhelming.
it's a lot, especially when I knew nothing. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, but I also tend to do that with things. I kind of delve in to get all of it. But
Get
I'm glad I'm
immersed.
doing it. Yeah, I'm glad I'm doing it. I feel like it's just
Yeah.
in time. I wish it were a year ago, but there's only so much a person can learn about a subject or anything.
Oh
So
man, yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I was just
and
curious what he would say. I'm like, oh, well, does
yeah.
that work? And he didn't seem to say, oh, well, yes, it works. And after this amount of time, he didn't really seem to have a very good answer. Almost like he didn't believe his answer is kind of how it sounded to me. But it was
Yeah.
interesting.
See, that's interesting. I'm going to show you something here real quick. Just a second here. Uh, okay. So this is, let me do a new share. Da, 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 da. Okay. So this is the Internet Archive. Lots of good books here. And so we're going to go over here and we're going to look for Bracy Clark's book because I want to read you something out of the front of it. Written back and whenever, hippodonomia, the true structure, laws, and economy of the horse's foot. Okay, so he was the first, he's called the first vet because there were 3 students, well, in the English Royal Veterinary Academy that started in England in 1797 or something like that. And so he was one of the first students. And I think they graduated 3 of them, you know. And so that school was opened for the horse. Okay, it was financed by the crown. That's why it's called royal. Okay, unlike the ones in well, the ones in France were too, but now the front ones in France were the first ones, and opened in, oh gosh, can't get all my dates right, but 1750, 60 something in France. And that's when that first guy was just studying anatomy, Lafosse, and he come up with the idea that horses should bear their weight and walk on their frogs, and started trimming the heels out of everything. Of course, they crippled everything, but it took them about 40 years to figure out you had to do it slower. And but then that's when horses started living not their whole natural lifespan, and they had started tripping and killing people and what have you. And so then we get over to England. About 40 years later, they opened the Royal Veterinary School there. And one of the first students, again, was this Bracy Clark. And so he was especially interested in the foot of the horse. And so and he was also a farrier. And so he started, nobody had really researched it before other than Lafosse in France, who come up with these bad ideas. And so so he also, I'm going to show you this here. Let me make it bigger here. So that's the preface. And this is something he said, because it's just like what you just said, which is very interesting. He says, about 7 years ago, whilst pursuing some experiments on the contracted feet of horses, it occurred to me that the causes usually advanced to explain this serious imperfection were not real. And because, see, he would go to farriers and he would ask them, why do you think this is? And the farriers would tell him. And of course, that's what everybody believed. But then he kept doing these experiments and studying and trying to figure this out. And he come to the conclusion that what they were telling him was not true. See, but he's being diplomatic here. He didn't just come out and say, well, it was a lie. Because, of course, they're not lying to you on purpose. They believe something that's been passed on down to them, word of mouth, generation to generation. And so it gets in a vet school, right? Then it gets written in academia. Then it becomes the truth. See, it becomes the reality of the way it is, because it's in science now. So he says, and so I'm going to read that again. About 7 years ago, whilst pursuing some experiments on contracted feet of horses, it occurred to me that the causes usually advanced to explain the serious imperfection were not real, and that, in fact, the accidents, carelessness, idle habits, and wanton tricks of the, we're going to replace the word to farrier, so much invade against. In other words, see, at that time, people would write a lot about all the junk that they had to deal with the farriers, the bad stuff. What does it say? Accidents, carelessness, idle habits, wanton tricks. So much invade against had very little concern with its production. Even though people were writing about this stuff, nobody was trying to find out why are these horses having these contracted heels. It says the efficient cause, the real cause, began to appear to me to lie much deeper and to consist, get this, of the very method itself by which the shoe was affixed to the foot. Now, so the method itself, see, they are causing what that farrier told you. Taking the heels back is the very thing that's causing the very thing he's trying to prevent. See, the method, the trim. See, it's not just the way a shoe is affixed to a foot, because before they ever affix a shoe to a foot, what do? They trim it. And of course, they have certain beliefs in how they should trim that foot and how the foot should look and what the anatomy is. And every single one of these beliefs is based in error that has been passed down for 250 years. So when you're talking that farrier, you're doing the same thing that Bracy Clark here did. When was this? When did he do this? When did he publish this? 1829. That's pretty pathetic, don't you think? That we're this far in the future and still got the same problems.
You know what else I noticed? If I can, that he said that people think, because people think that. But what's funny is I don't think anyone thinks that. It sounds to me that people don't think that. People all think what he's saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was also confused by that. He said, yeah, because people think that if you grow it, that's how you would, fix it. But really you have to bring it back. It's almost like people are all doing this and thinking that that's the secret.
Yeah.
But that everyone's doing it. So it's really weird.
No, the only ones that think that are us.
Yeah, that's so weird how he said it. Like, well, like people think that, but I know how to really do it almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, they have no clue. Okay. They have absolutely no clue of what they're doing. And everything they think is true is actually the opposite. And what they do actually causes the problems. See, because they have no clue as to the actual true structure of the horse's foot. So anyway, so if you get a chance, you might want to read this book. Pretty interesting. Now, he did 2 editions, and in this edition, okay, in the first edition, he didn't know that he was being screwed around by the vet school and by the president of the vet school, and that the president of that vet school was doing everything he can to try and demean this guy's research. See? Which is interesting. And so, but in this book, he realized it. See? And that, what was that guy's name? I don't know. The guy wound up being the president or leader or dean or whatever you want to call it, of the Royal Veterinary Academy for 40 years. He wrote a bunch of rules that smiths were supposed to go by, farriers were supposed to go by, that were all incorrect, that we've been following ever since. So, okay.
And I have one more thing I wanted to add. Have you heard of this woman online called, I can't think of her name, but this channel is like Hoof Marvelous or something. She does barefoot trimming.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
She said something, and I looked at it because my barefoot trimmer brought her up, and she really liked her, she said. And she said that she was doing something that's really against the rules in England about letting the toes grow. Okay,
well,
so I was curious what she had said.
Yeah.
Which that sounds fine because you're not binding it, right? But what's interesting is that that woman had said in one of her videos, I can't now sadly think of it's a quote from Bracy Clark that you show in a lot of your videos, and she used it in a different way.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did, because here's what they do. They pick out. See, these people don't know how to read the context, because if they read the context of this, they would find that he believed the exact opposite of what they're teaching. Okay, absolutely against Lauren Heels and frog contact. Big time. Okay, they'll never read you that. They go to these books and they pick and choose. See, and even Jackson does this too. He quotes Xenophon, okay, to make it sound like Xenophon agreed with him when I can show you clearly the context of these men. Because, see, I learned to read the context in everything. And these men taught the exact opposite of what these people are claiming. See how, it really, it's a form of wickedness, you know, that goes on in our society and culture all the time, to take what you want out of context and use it to prove your point. Okay. See, now we get into this book and I can show you line by line by line by chapter on that in context, he would not agree with her at all. Okay. But they'll use these people to try and do that. See? And again, it goes back to what I said. And they don't mean to, but they don't know how to research. They really don't. Okay. Way before I ever did Hoofs, I did biblical and historical research and learned how to read the context of things and look at a big picture, not just, oh, well, I'm going to pick this out and that out because this agrees with my interpretation, my theory, you know. So anyway, but yeah, they'll use him. And so that's part of this research too, is showing how what he taught about how taking the heels down, forcing frog contact was killing horses all over England. Not only killing horses, killing people. See? And so in Henry Hamerling's article on the proper hoof angle, he talks about all this history. And he talks about how before 250 years ago, horses had ample heel. And guess what? We can prove it. We can absolutely prove it because we can look at the statues and the paintings and this and that, you know, and we can see it. And so we have proof for what we believe here. Not just pick and choose proof, but I mean, like thousands of years of evidence to show that horses had heel, that show that they don't walk on their bulbs. So anyway, yeah, that's interesting that you're learning that stuff. See, confusing,
Well,
ain't it?
a lot. It's a lot. But what was the name of the book that you brought up? You said it had a lot. It had where he gathered all the historical, a
Oh
bunch of
my
historical
gosh,
stuff. I thought you said Harry something. I missed it. I can't
Henry
remember.
Hamerling. Let me go to that. Let's see here. Hold on, Henry Hamerling.
Okay.
Oh well,
Thank you.
see, he's got a web page. He died a couple years ago, unfortunately. But he's got a web page, Never Blue Farm or something like that, where all his stuff is listed.
Okay, I see it.
Just a second here. Yeah. Let me get a thing here. Where am I? Yeah. I guess I'm sharing it. Okay. Never Blue Farm. And now his articles are here somewhere. Where are your
If you go
articles?
to the right, it says articles.
God, I'm blind.
It's
Oh,
tiny.
I had something in front of it. Okay, so Janet, bless her heart, bought me this book of his where he put together anybody and everybody that wrote anything about the foot of the horse. It's the most amazing piece of work I've ever seen, next to well, some other stuff. But okay, so where is he at? He also has has an article that I haven't read here about Strasser, who's another one that promotes no heel. Okay.
Which is the book that you have, the historical one,
Oh, what
Historical
is it?
Perspectives?
might not be listed on here. It's out of print.
Mm.
And just a minute. I wonder where that book is because I haven't seen it here in a short while. It was a hardback too. Second here. Hold on. I know it's here somewhere. Okay, where are you? I'm looking. I got a mess here. I wonder what he did with that book. I know it's around here somewhere. Let's see. Equinutrition, weight bearing, straightening, historical perspectives, 80 causes, veterinarian Strasser, writing with the quality, the proper hoof angle. Well, it's not listed here. Why is that? Janet, do you remember the name of that book? I got it here somewhere. I need to find it.
I'm listening. What was it called? God, I'd have to go back and look on the receipt, which God knows is in my phone somewhere.
Well, darn it, I one of these maybe I'll be more prepared on next Hoof Chat, and I'm gonna find. I know it's here somewhere. I just said it somewhere, and I can't find
Is
it.
on Amazon? On Amazon, they have something called Hoof Care for Horses by him.
No,
No,
this
okay.
was a list of all the writings anybody ever did.
On the horse's hoof, shoes, and shoeing, a bibliographic record
That's
and brief
it.
timeline.
That's
Okay, it says
it.
unavailable, but
Yeah.
it shows it, but unavailable. Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's it. Yeah, that's probably the most amazing scholarly.
I had to buy it from a historic, out of print bookstore, and God knows where. I
Yeah,
don't even remember where the hell I found
and
it.
what did you pay for that thing? Like
80, 90 something.
so yeah,
Yeah,
$90.
it fits out. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Interesting.
so I better not lose it. It better be here somewhere. I know it's here somewhere. I just haven't had a.
They had one copy of it. It said used, but still usable.
Yeah. Oh, it's in pristine condition.
Yeah,
You know?
out of print, blah blah blah. But I almost fell over when I found it. So
Yeah. See, so I'd like to write to them and it'd be good if they could do a on-demand printing of that book. That is a very important scholarly work. You know, because for one thing, when you look at it, it starts to blow you away at how many people have written on the foot. We just don't think about it. You know, we just don't think about how vital the horse is and was to us because we're not in that time anymore. You know, but for 6,000 years, empires were built on the horse. You know, world history would be completely different if it were not for the horse. You know, empires and economies run via the horse. So of course, then once you realize that, it stands to reason. Well, yeah, no wonder so many people wrote on it. And he had it very meticulously listed, everybody from every country, everywhere, blah. You know, it was amazing. I wish I knew where that book was. I'd take a picture of it right now and show you. But anyway,
it has to be on your desk somewhere.
oh God. Yeah, it's a wreck around here. You know,
I'm sure it didn't leave the house. It's in there somewhere.
it's here somewhere. I wonder where that thing is.
I've currently lost my glasses, so that was 2 days ago.
Oh no! Oh, I do. I've done that.
And I'm driving around without them. Luckily, my vision's not terrible, but I know they will turn up, so I haven't ordered new ones. So just saying,
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. I did that all the time, and then finally, I did it too so badly that I put them somewhere and they got stepped on. So, so a lot of times I'll take them off if they're foggy or they get sweaty or something. I'll move them and set them somewhere, and then I wind up putting them in a place where they shouldn't be. I'm really watching these new ones I got, boy, because man, they're expensive. Because see, I got those progressive lenses.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so all right, so we're gonna go to where am I gonna find your pictures again? And let's talk about your horse and
Yeah, those are probably from 2 weeks ago. I had sent them. I mean, I've taken other pictures since.
okay,
I don't know.
on
But
Facebook.
yeah, I had sent them
Okay,
through my husband's account, which is my
okay,
Facebook
that's
account.
right. That's right. Uh, let's see. What's his name start with?
Y, first name is Y,
Y.
last name is,
That's
yeah,
right.
Julian, but it's Julian. And then Matos, yeah.
That's right. Okay. Why doesn't this thing? See, like it says end to end encrypted. Since they started doing this junk where I don't understand why they're doing that, you know?
Mm.
Has anybody else had them do that in your messenger, some sort of weird you got to put in a code now and all this other stuff. Let's see. Hey, send me a message, would you?
Yes,
So it'll come up in my box.
yes. Oh, apparently I sent you other messages since with the when I was trying to do the mapping.
Okay.
I don't even remember that I'd sent you this now. I sent you one. Did you get it?
Um okay, let's see here. Yeah. Okay. For some reason when I was putting in your name, okay, so I'm just going to look for the pictures here. Open in Messenger.
Kind of far back because I sent you a bunch.
Okay. Yeah, I did browse through
Wait,
quickly.
didn't I send them all? Oh yeah, it was a while back, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
while back I had sent them. Uh-huh.
Okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want to go through this thing where you ask questions and I'll just answer each question? I I,
Um,
I thought you answered some good questions.
I don't even remember what I've asked because I've come up with so many questions. I have so many
Okay.
questions. And I
Well,
feel like
there's
some things I've figured out since then, and then I have more
okay.
questions. I guess where I'm at is I have all these I have her feet in front of me and
Mm-hmm.
I have your videos and I guess I'm just like with her feet obviously don't look like, Valor's feet in your video to
Yeah.
me, right? So I guess I'm looking for more specific direction. I'm
Okay.
scared to just go do something and then
Okay.
maybe like, okay, if you tell me focus like on, her front whatever and her back whatever, maybe do this more if you can tell.
Okay.
Like with her frogs. So I know that like when I had done the mapping last time, I bought all the tools. So I kind of just, oh, when I was doing the mapping and I was
Uh-huh.
trying to do like looking at the apex, I was like, I'm pretty sure this apex of the frog needs to be cut back. So
Uh-huh.
I just like messed with it a little bit, but like I don't know what I'm doing. And it was
Okay.
felt very hard.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it probably hasn't been trimmed back in a long time and they tend to
yeah.
get like dead kinda.
Yeah, so I couldn't find the apex without the true apex really without trimming it back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And
so that's why I was a little bit
okay.
not sure how
So
to map that.
you see I got a picture on the screen here.
Oh, let me see, because I was looking at mine. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's her foot
That's the
and
one that,
stuff.
yeah.
And of course,
Mm-hmm.
even looking here at the back of the
Mm-hmm.
frog, I can
Mm-hmm.
tell that the frog is probably petrified,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Well, there's several things here. Um, uh, I that looks like skin, like periople skin.
Yeah,
right
I'm
there.
struggling with that whole, you're saying you need to figure out the difference, and I'm struggling a
Yeah.
little bit between figuring that out. But go ahead.
Okay, well, you could take your hoof knife up there and just trim that off. It won't hurt at all. Let me go back. Wait a minute.
That
Okay.
skin area, that
Yeah,
skin?
this skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to decide here is it looks like the bulb's expanded here. Because see, the skin holds the hoof capsule. The skin adheres to the hoof capsule and to the leg itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it looks like here, like maybe well, let's see. Let me get something here.
And this is the one that busted through like that. Remember? See
Yeah,
that line? Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay, let
Broke
me
apart.
new share here so we can enlarge it. Okay, so you can see one where the skin was right here. See there? And so
Yes.
the back of your foot expanded. Okay, and so this pulled away from this connection right here.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this tear area here. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
so what'll probably happen is that you'll have some more hoof wall grow in here, because the foot expanded. And so what you're wanting to do, you are wanting all this. See now do you see how if this part here, this is where the wall grows from, if this was connected down here, okay, and then it released and let loose, you see how the wall is going to grow from up here now. So probably going to replace this whole heel here, I would think. But you can take and you can clean this up right here. You see that piece?
Mm-hmm.
You can just take your knife and just trim that away.
Okay. Can I just do
Okay.
that as that comes? Because that happens a lot, I think, on her
Really?
feet.
That's
I
interesting.
see little bits coming out of the back like that.
Yeah. Now see
And I
what's
was wondering, like, is that just like more of the back of the hoof heel that's wanting to come in? Is kind of what I was
yeah, well it
seeing
is.
it as.
It is.
Hmm.
And what you find is when you're trimming the heels out,
Hmm.
okay, without realizing it, you'll get these same flaps.
Yeah, that's what happened to hers a lot.
Yeah,
I've noticed.
and thing when but then when you start to grow them in, you'll get the flaps too, which is
Okay. Hmm.
interesting. Um, uh, so so they were trimming the heels out of her, and now she didn't like this being pulled down like that in them trimmed out heels. And so because this cartilage and the digital cushion, big lump of fat in there and everything, under so much pressure, well, she just decided to pull up out of the back of this capsule right here.
Hmm.
See? So, but that's okay because she'll start growing hoof wall. She'll still be growing hoof wall, and it'll be adding in up here as the back of the foot's coming up. Now, this
Hmm.
frog, well, let's look at some more pictures here.
Yeah, that whole back area with the frog, the skin, the bowl, that whole area perplexed.
Yeah, let's see here. Where are we at? Oops, just a second. Go back to the steel here. Okay, remembering, yeah, she's wanting to grow her foot back. Now what happens when they trim the heels out is, again, all these horn tubules. Let me do a annotate here. So all these horn tubules, they're trimming this part out lower here like this, so it sets everything at an angle. And so all these horn tubules that were, like so, once they trim this out, well, it sets them on an angle pushing forward like so. all the way up into here, and it's going to push the toe forward. But the foot doesn't want to do that. The foot wants to be supported up back here. It doesn't want this cartilage and bulb to be forced down to the ground. It wants to be supported up in the air, like so. See there? That would be what the foot should be. This area supported. So then when you come in here and you cut them heels off like that, it's forcing the cartilages and bulbs down to the ground where they were never meant to be. You know, it's like, you know, when you're in parochial school and that nun comes and grabs your ear and twists it, you know, that's not where your ear was meant to be, and your ear wants to go back to where it's supposed to be. So, you know, this is like your nose, it's like your ear. It has a certain place, anatomical position where it's supposed to be. And so when we look at this foot, we have to figure out, okay, what's going on? What happened when they trimmed the heels out? What was the mechanical situation of what happened to the foot? What effect did it have on the foot? And then individually, what effect did it have on the capsule? Because even though the capsule is attached to and grows from the foot, it is still a separate entity, like a shoe. And so once they have trimmed it in such a way that is not in weight-bearing equilibrium with the foot, then it begins a mechanical process. And you can see this in this foot pretty clearly once you understand what's going on. Like if, let me do this sticker here. Like ideally, this foot should have heel about like that. You see there? That would be the true heel of the horse right here. It would be about let's see, in proportions, this is how feet are. Okay, you have an area that is almost rectangular, and then you have this triangular-ish looking area, but the heels aren't much shorter than the dorsal wall. See? I probably can't. Let me redo that. We're really getting some scribble pictures going here. Let me clear that. I'm going to turn this around. Hold on. Let's see. New share. Let's flip this thing around. Okay. We can tell by that. Okay. So now this is interesting. See, if you take these and you flip them around and you make them even different sizes, okay, you wind up seeing a lot more than if you just look at it at the big picture. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. I'm gonna take that phone off the hook. Okay, so let's look at a foot first. That now see, there's some good, I can look at this foot and tell some good stuff going on, that she is trying to put that cartilage is strong and it's pulling up regardless. And so as it does each time, it comes disconnected a little bit. You see that? Here's where it pulled up one time, right here. See, now that we get it small, you can see it better. Like when I do that, okay, you don't see exactly what happened there. When you do this, you can see it. I'll show you here. Just a second. Let me get, she's got beautiful cartilages in her feet. And here's the thing too. I was going to tell people, see, when you're trimming these heels out, they're like if they're trying to get that barefoot look with a 30-degree hairline, like take this hairline here and have it go clear down to here, and they want these bulbs clear down here. Okay, but the foot doesn't want to do that. If you are in a dry climate, you can force it to do that. And some horses, their feet will be forced and conform more than others. But a lot of us are in climates that aren't dry the whole year round, like Arizona. Okay. And that's the thing too, like what Jackson and all of them say, oh, water's your enemy. Not for us. Water is our friend. See, and we find the best feed on the horses that have access to water, that can get their
So right
feet wet.
now, I'm in Florida and it's about to start raining every single day.
Oh,
Like in
yeah.
2 weeks, it's going to rain every day. So I was actually nervous that things might like rip out like that more or something.
Well, and that's possible too, but from what I'm seeing here, she has already put quite a bit of heel in there. Let me get that bigger. Now, what I want you to see here, I'm going to show you a picture first. We're going to look at a picture so you can see what a good foot is supposed to look like.
That was
Okay.
another question I had. I'm really curious about how the frog and all should look in the back there of a good foot too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that first. Let's look at a good foot. Let's see. We don't have too many examples. No. Wild horses, that they give us a good example. Some of them, not all of them. Let's see, what should I do? Let's see. We'll look at our mascot, Chester. Chester, where are you?
Yeah, I was just gonna say pull up Chester.
Yeah. Okay, so Chester's foot ain't perfect, but you'll see. We're just gonna go look through his foot. When I first saw his foot, let's see. Okay. So Chester belonged to my neighbor. He belongs to a TAC member now, with Sharon Reynolds. And so my neighbor come riding along one day. Just a minute, I gotta find the thing and new share. Okay. My neighbor come riding along one day, and we just got to looking at that horse's feet. And I was like, wow, this horse feet are amazing. And so he wound up having some sort of breathing problem. So my neighbor was just gonna dump him out here with a rescue, and I thought, man, these rescues, they don't just want you dumping their horses on them, that's not what they're for. And so Sharon bought him because we wanted him for his feet. And he's such a nice horse. He deserved to have a good home. And so when I first looked at his foot, when I was standing out here in the road, this is what I was seeing on his feet. So I'll show you what I saw, and I'll show you how his feet looked. Now, he was never shod. My neighbor never had him shod. He was trimmed probably once every couple months, maybe. And the farrier that trims their horses, actually, he leaves a lot of heel on those horses. So see, here, this horse was adopted when he was in his second year. He was run in, and he was adopted within 6 months. And so I think he came from Nevada. Just a minute here. So anyway, this is a fit I picked up and looked at it. Look at how short the bars are. And I mean, the back of his foot was just huge. That's the way his foot looked out here in the road. And I was just like, wow. I mean, I didn't realize that his foot were that great. And see, look at the frog and the heels and the short little bars, and but the cartilage, I was just amazed at his cartilage back here as well. And so the first time I trimmed him, I thought I didn't know what I was going to find under this frog here. But what I found was, look, they never clean that horse's feet over there. They never. Okay. He gets his feet cleaned when the farrier comes. And we're in Kansas and it rains and blah blah blah. Okay. So the first time I trim his feet, look what happens. Actually, when the foot was dry, look how it looked when it was dry. Looks like a big thick callus, right? No, all that's there is this here. Look, just a thin layer. And look at that live, healthy frog underneath it. See that? I was surprised. And look at these little bars. Stand straight up. They're short. They come to right about here. Just perfect. And so, see, I put this. This is when I saw him in the road. This is a while later. Well, you can see how much his foot had grown. Okay. And you know what it trimmed up to? Exact tacked specs. How amazing was that? See now, where did tacked specs come from? Well, just over the years, I figured out this little thing and that little thing. And one day I thought, I need to help people try and figure this out. And so that's when I sat there one day and I just listed everything I'd been doing and thinking and trying. And it came out to the general mapping specs. And so I just applied the general mapping on him, and this is what it came out to. Okay, so this is really a healthy, anatomically correct frog. Pretty much looks just like this. But you think there's a big, thick callus? No, there isn't. He's got a very thick frog with lots of healthy frog padding because he's got good heel. See, he's got at least 2 inches from here to here.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're talking about this big, fat, healthy frog. Put a footnote in about that. We don't normally have a big, fat, healthy frog when we're working through the problems.
Yeah.
That can lock us up. This is on a healthy, correct foot that you want a frog that looks like this versus while we're going through the stages of correction.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you say a big fat healthy frog, can you show me, like, you mean wide from side to side?
No,
Can you point that out?
I mean depth wise.
Okay.
Depth. Yeah, they're not wide by any stretch of the imagination. They're not wide. The only time they get wide is if the heels are worn out up to here and it's pulled the whole frog corium and splashed and spread it out. What I mean is thick in depth. See, like if I was to take my finger and put it up behind the bulbs here and right there, it would feel thick. And you would feel this frog high up in the foot.
Can you look at my horses? If you go into the messages, actually it's like pretty recent. That was when I was trying to map, and I did 2 lines on the heel because I got confused. I was like, wait, is it here, here?
Okay.
But you can see the bottom of this same foot because it was the same one you were just looking at before.
Okay.
And see that angle and maybe.
Okay. Hold on to that.
Yeah.
Hold on to that. Let's go through him first, and then we'll go back to her. Okay, hon?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Linda, what about the frog stay? The frog stay on that hoof.
Okay, that frog stay is right in here, going clear up into here. See, when this frog will go clear up into here. See, this is the bottom of the frog stay here. And that you will, if you were to put your thumb in here, you would feel it clear up into here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
See, that's what I mean by thick, healthy frog, from here to here. Not from here to here. From here to here. Let me find you a picture. A second. A picture of what we mean. Let's see here.
I've had a lot of people think that leaving the frog untrimmed and letting all that dead, thick material be on there is what we want it to look like. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, that is not a healthy frog.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it should be big, fat, and thick. I'm like, it needs to be thick of healthy frog,
Yeah.
not the dead on top of, should have worn off through wear frog.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, people don't understand. They see this picture of this frog and they think, oh, mine looks like that. And I'm like, no, yours is all like half an inch of dead stuff.
Yeah. And
Yep.
see, like, okay, now no names mentioned, but there is somebody that does dissections, and that someone thought they had this great big healthy frog with a big, and they just couldn't wait to do their slice and dice, slice it like bread, and barely sliced into it from the bottom, like if you were to slice, like the foot is setting on the ground and you're going to go through slices going up, barely sliced into it and run into frog corium, would have run into blood. See, because they thought, because they had that Jackson model in their head. See, and that frog had that foot has no frog. See, I'll show you here the difference between Chester's foot here and the one dead wild horse that wore its heels out. Just a second here. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, now remembering where I said where the frog is thick, like between the bulbs, from up between the cartilages, and you got your thumb and your finger there squeezing, thick, width. We're talking about depth, not length, not width, but depth. So, oh gosh. Okay, so here's an example. This is a wild horse's foot that had heel that somebody found in the desert and gave to a farrier, and he's cut it in half. Now look here. See up here? That's frog. And down here, that's frog. See the depth? Depth of frog. When I say big fat frog, I mean that's what I mean. Here's another wild horse here. Little bit different. Look, little bit different configuration back here. Okay, but look at the depth of the frog here. Between the bulbs, behind. Okay, that's where you're seeing this slice here, down the center of the foot. Okay, here's our wonderful barefoot model, which is really a hind foot of a horse that wore its heels out. Now look at, there is no depth of frog. See it here? See the difference? Nothing. And see, this is all deformity. Okay, this horse, as the heels were worn out, it just pulled all this and stripped the frog out of the foot. So the frog corium is real close to the ground here. So you come in there with your dissection and you just slice this off. You slice right into the frog corium. But of course, it didn't look like that. See, you can't tell from the outside.
That was my question.
Yeah. You can't tell from the outside if you don't know what you're looking at, what the depth of the frog is. See?
Because if the heels are trimmed out and so like the whole sole of the foot is forward, then there's not going to be that much frog there, right? Because it's gone.
Sometimes it just depends. Sometimes there can be frog there, like if the horse had heels and had frog. Okay, and then they started trimming the heels out. It will take that old frog sometimes and just bend it up into the foot. And so you still have some of that old frog there. And you could have some thickness of frog. Okay, but if over time they have trimmed the heels out and it has stripped the old frog padding out of the foot, then it's grown new frog padding on the foot where it has deformed to. Like if say these two horses here, we started trimming their heels out. Well, it's going to start bending this frog up under this way. In fact, it'll make the frog just go like this. It'll pull this down. Well, this got to go somewhere. It'll start bending up into the foot. And if you look at some of these horses they're trimming and you look at this part of the frog from underneath the foot, you can actually see the bend in the frog, that they're developing a false concavity.
Right. I was just going to say, but that's their healthy concavity they keep telling us we all need.
Yeah, which is not healthy at all. It's false. See, it's all false. It's all fake. It's all false. And so, but if the heels are trimmed out slow, then eventually that frog will shed away. It'll strip this out, and then it'll be thin. It'll look like this. But see, from the bottom, it doesn't look it. It looks like, just a minute here.
My horse, after I trimmed his back horribly, you could pick his hind foot up and use it as a soup bowl.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, kind of get that picture in your head. Literally, if you picked his hind foot up, his frog was up, he had this big arch, and you could literally eat soup out of his foot.
Wow.
You know, now it's so much better, but I still have slight arch that shouldn't be there. But I mean, literally, that's what I started with.
Wow.
It had to be an inch and a quarter or more from the ground up into the foot that I had.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because the whole foot bent.
Right, the whole foot bent.
Curved,
So
yeah.
literally, and I was like, "Oh, look how nice that is! You got that nice big arch," and I'm like, "That's not right."
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's all based on well, it's a deceptive view, you know, and it's all based on the errors they have taught for centuries, because they taught the foot is only concave, and so and they don't even know there's a sole ridge, and so they don't know what they're looking at, and so they're interpreting according to what they know, what they think they know. And so their interpretations are incorrect because there are aspects of the anatomy that they don't even know about. You know, if you're going to interpret what you're looking at correctly, you have to have all the facts. You have to have legitimate, you have to have some reality going for you. And so since they did not know there is a convex sole ridge, all right, they thought the foot was only concave. And so whenever a sole ridge would appear, they'd carve it out and make the foot look concave. Well, then they start trimming the heels out. It bends the foot and forms a false concavity. And so they think that's good because they don't know what they're looking at to begin with. Let's see here. Okay, let me just go back here. Okay, this is a foot they want you to have with the bulbs on the ground. And see, so there would be no depth between here and here. There's no depth of frog. No depth of frog. And this is Valor's foot. And I would look at, I don't know when I did that. Well, okay, I was growing heels in then because that was in 2017. I was trying to grow heel. I don't know. I was looking at this wild horse's foot and trying to compare, but at that time I still didn't know that the cartilage was bound, you know, which is weird because look at how different these feet are. Look at the difference in the cartilage here. I probably did not even look at that. I didn't even notice that. And so that's depressing because this is the one that Valor cut. But anyway, okay, so let's go back to Chester now that we understand more about the frog. See that thick frog in there, meaning depth of frog. As Xenophon said, high up in the foot. The frog is high up in the foot, and that's what he meant. You know, not only did it not just beat the ground, okay, but it was thick. It was high up in the foot, and the horse had a high hairline in front and behind so that they could have that depth of frog there. Let's see, new share. Okay, so again, you put your thumb here and here, you're going to feel that depth, that thick depth of frog, and that is the frog stay. Now, on his foot, still, some of it is pulled down and run forward. So we haven't got this totally perfect back here, you know, but that frog stay that he developed as a foal was holding his foot in a place where as I started to trim him according to tack mapping specs, his foot started come right back together. Let's see here. So here's what happened. So Sharon bought him, and just because of, and she couldn't come and get him because they were moving out here. She couldn't come get him for a year, so I had to stay over at my neighbor's where I would trim him. And just life circumstances happened, and I did not get over to get him trimmed for a substantial amount of time. And then right when I was going to go trim him, she had moved back here, and they decided they're taking him. So then I didn't get to trim it at all for several months, and then he was at her place another couple of months before I could get there, because it's like 150 miles from here, and trim him. So that by the time I got there to trim him, his feet had grown way long. And but here's the thing, you would not believe what we learned from that. Okay, because what we learned was how the periople works to try to hold the hoof capsule on, how it literally begins to stitch together and cover and go over the frog to hold the capsule and the heels all together. See this here? This is what looks like stitching. And this becomes important because in Bracy Clark's research, he does a drawing of a foot, and that foot has this same stitching. So this is what I came to, what his foot looked like when it hadn't been trimmed for like 5 months. And then I did and you can see here now, on these feet, this periople band is supposed to be the same width all the way back to here. You can see how it starts getting wider here and then wider back here. Okay, now you can really see it over here. See the width here? This is where the coronary band groove is, and this is the main periople band. Notice how it starts getting wider right here. That is showing you how much of the capsule has pulled down and forward on the foot. And what you'll see on that too is the bulb skin here will get a lot wider. Just a minute here. So
when you say down and forward, what do you mean by down and forward? If you can.
Okay, well, you see, okay, you see the capsule here?
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to look more like this.
Right.
But because it grew and grew and grew, okay, because the capsule grows down and forward in general, then the leverage of the foot, the leverage of the long toe pulled the hoof capsule forward. Meanwhile, the foot is still wanting to stand up and back. So basically, you've got this motion of the hoof capsule being pulled off the foot like a shoe. And so this periople band is what attaches the capsule to the leg. And so as the capsule's being pulled forward, the foot is pulling backwards. It's the same mechanical motion as when you take your shoe off.
Okay, I thought you meant that part was going down and forward, but it looks like it's coming back. No?
Well, this part's
Well,
coming back.
on the other one.
This part's going forward because see,
Right.
this is just a shoe.
I
All
see
right.
that. Yeah.
And as long as the shoe maintains a specific size and form, it is in weight-bearing equilibrium and support with the foot. But if it grows too long, then it is if it is being pulled and forced off. The leverages are pulling it off the foot. The force is pulling the foot off this way, and the horse himself is trying to just stand up normal going this way. So they're in opposition to each other rather than in weight-bearing unity and equilibrium. And so because the capsule is being literally pulled off the foot, the periople here grows and stretches and thickens to try and hold the capsule on. And so let me see, let me get a annotate here. Let's see. And
So if
this,
that foot hadn't grown so far forward, it hadn't gone on so long, that periople in the back would have not been stretched as far.
right. See how it gets wider? Like, okay, this is the normal width. It should be that all the way back. Instead, right in here, you see it's starting to get wider. See that?
Mhm.
That's because the periople skin, now the foot is still up here. See? Now, the foot is wanting to still be up here. It doesn't want to be pulled down there. And so the foot is constantly pulling up. And as it does so, this skin grows and stretches to hold the capsule onto the foot. And so when you're looking at these feet, you come in here, and this is the stuff you first want to look at. You want to look at the shape of the cartilage because this is part of the foot. It's not under the hoof capsule, but it's as much a part of the foot as what's down here. And so you're going to want to look at this, and then you're going to look at this periople band, which only should get wider right here. About just right here in the very end. It shouldn't be wide like this back here. So let me undo this here. Okay. So, okay, so here's what I did. So I tack mapped it and I trimmed it, and it trimmed right up to this, right here. And now on these kind of toes, usually I take them, I don't just, you take them down too. So I took his toe down pretty good, like so. But anyway, okay, so here's what I started with right here. And at that time, I was learning to take this out right here and open up the central sulcus. So, and I used a grinder. So I just went ahead and took all this out right here. And this is what we wound up with right there. And this is his true frog. This is actually what a frog is really supposed to look like. What you see right here. Now, it didn't take long for the foot to just come back together once we took that length off. Because see, this frog stay that he originally had, which Bracy Clark named the frog stay, he also called it the bolt, because once the foot is in place and that frog stay grows and it will hold that foot very well in place. And so after, now I want you to look at again the periople skin. You get a different color. I don't like red. Okay, so here's do you see the periople skin here? See it?
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at the width of it. See that? See the difference?
Mhm.
What did we see on the other one? We saw where the periople skin started right about here, getting wider, like so. See, so after he was trimmed and all the leverage was off the foot, it all pulled back into shape. These hoof capsules are much more flexible than we even realize. Let's see.
Can you do a caveat about not doing this when you should not remove this periople?
Well, see, like, and I didn't really remove periople. Well, I guess I did.
Yeah,
Whatever I
you did.
removed on him. Well, I can do a caveat, but like,
But I
okay,
mean, like people will see this and go, "Oh, I should take all that off," when their
I
foot
know.
is in a different state with a low, no heel, no height. They do
Yeah,
that and then they walk out of the capsule.
that's right. You just did that caveat. No,
I did
see,
not do that.
see, yes, you did. You are the fail safe.
I'm
See,
sorry, but I know how people, they
I
see you do
know.
this and they're like, "Okay, I'm supposed to do this now." And I'm like, "No,
I
you're not.
know.
You're
No,
not ready."
no, no, no. We could do it on him because he already had a really good foot. It was
Yes.
just overgrown. If your heels are trimmed out and your cartilage is all bound into a little tiny capsule, that periople is holding that foot together. So
And
you have to grow in some heel and expand the whole foot and do a controlled release. Otherwise, if you have just a little tiny capsule and then you remove all that periople and it's wet, especially with moisture, your foot's just going to blow out the back. And in fact, we see this happening all the time to barefoot horses when they get in moisture and their capsules have been trimmed out. So
I just get nervous now because people that are new
oh
will
yeah,
come in and see this and not
yeah,
understand that there's a time and a place for everything.
yeah. So the warning, Will Robinson, okay, is that you have to grow in heel and capsule before you go doing what I did here on this horse. Okay.
Thank you.
And what you did was
So,
also remove skin, is what you're saying from the back?
well,
Periople.
let's see.
The periopal skin, yeah.
Yeah, well,
You just
pretty
scraped it
much
off, you buzzed it off. Like, what did you actually do?
it actually just came out pretty easy,
It usually
because
kind of comes out in chunkies.
yeah,
Okay.
his capsule was starting to be pulled off. And so that periople was stitching itself together to hold it on and filling up the central sulcus. Eventually, if his foot would have kept growing and growing, uh, you know, the frog would have been replaced by periople. What we see here is how the periople comes to replace the frog stay to hold the foot hoof capsule on. Let me just a minute here. Let's go back here.
And that's another reason why we have to keep our frogs healthy and trimmed out.
Yeah. And see it right up here, the periople here? See what it's doing? How it's stitching together? Okay, to hold the foot on, the capsule on, the periople stretching. And look how it's starting to develop these flaps too. See? So it was just stitching together. Eventually, if the foot would not have gotten trimmed, this would have the frog would have been stripped out and the periople would have grown over the whole frog to hold the capsule on. That's
How
how
would the frog have stripped out? How would the frog have stripped out?
well, because the frog corium itself becomes deformed, and so the old frog that grew from it becomes detached.
Hmm.
See, it's
Is that when it goes up, when it turns? Or
well, see, if, I'd have to show you a hoof capsule that's been removed. You could just you take the whole hoof capsule off and the frog, and this all comes off in one piece like a shoe.
You have to remember too that when you cover up healthy frog with anything, it keeps it from growing. Like you said,
Yeah.
the analogy with grass.
Yeah, see, all this anatomy internally was being forced and stretched forward, but it was wanting to pull back to where it's supposed to be. So as the internal foot was pulling back, it was slowly becoming disconnected from the frog that was growing. And so what'll happen is they'll grow a whole new frog. In fact, I've got, I don't know where they're at right now, but I've got pictures where you can see this happening where I've got one picture where you can see a horse growing 3 different frogs and 3 different sets of heels because they kept lowering the heels and the foot capsule was being pulled off. So the back of the foot would pull up out of the current capsule, which included the heels and the frog, and then start growing another one. See, because again, this is just a capsule. The frog here and the periople skin and the hoof capsule, one piece like a shoe. And so this whole thing can be pried off the foot, but then the foot would grow a new one. See? So, but in trimming him up, okay, and removing all that leverage that was forcing it off, well, then the whole thing just wanted to come back the way it was supposed to. So this kind of shows you what his foot looked like after the trim. See, it took all that leverage and he just was able to pull his foot back. Now, frog depth is up in here that you can't see to down here. Let's see. Okay, again, this here again shows how that periople tries to stitch together to hold the foot on. This is 2 different. Let's see. This was 326, 22, and then Sharon sent me a picture. He hadn't been trimmed for a couple of months, and you can see what it does. Now, look at how interesting that is. How that does that. To try and just hold all that on. So somebody was posted a picture of a foot. It might have been on the periople research page. It might have been Julia Dominic. And she shows a rope. This turns into what looks like a literal rope here. And it's what it is this your periople skin attached here, and it is literally holding the capsule on for the survival of the horse. What did I do there? Okay, so see, I just took that out and I trimmed up the foot, and then everything came back. But again, this horse has heels. You wouldn't want to do that. Now, okay, so I trimmed, when I got there, I trimmed the horse. This is what it was like. This was on 327. Okay. So 327, 427. So about 5-6 weeks later, this is what you see from doing that trim and doing that tact mapping, taking him down to tact specs. Okay. And this is how his foot corrected. Now, remember I told you that this periople skin should be the same width all the way back. Do you see it now? You see it? And do you see the difference here? How this is when, you know, the capsule had been very long and being pulled off. You know, the foot wants to stand up here. Okay, you think of leverage when the difference between when you have long fingernails and when you have short fingernails. The difference between digging in the dirt. Okay, if I dig in the dirt and I'm pulling my fingernails back, my fingers are still coming back, but my nails are wanting to pull forward, right? There's leverage on those nails, pulling them away from my fingers. Okay, so same with the horse. When the hoof capsule gets too long to where it's creating a leverage, pulling it forward. Well, the foot still wants to stand up here. It doesn't want to be pulled forward. So the foot is going to be pulling up this way, but then because of length in heels, length in toe, the capsule is going to be pulled that way. So once you remove the leverages off, well, that foot knows where it wants to be, because that's just the reality of it. And so then it pulls the capsule and everything all back into place where it's supposed to be. And I mean, look at the beauty of that. I mean, look at the horn tubules, how in alignment they are. Look at the growth rings. See, horizontal growth rings, vertical horn tubules, everything, the hoof wall grid that grows from this coronary band that's behind there. And you can see that the width of the periople skin is just perfect. Now it's a little bit flaked there because, of course, look, it had to all shrink back in place. See? I just think that's pretty cool. And look at the width of the bulbs back here. Okay, the bulb itself is really not any wider. I mean, this is just the flap that holds onto the wall right there. Okay, but this is all the same width right here, going clear to here. Again, look at the width, look at the skin, look at the bulb, how it's wider. See, all this foot pulled itself back together once all those leverages were taken off. Did it pretty good because it already had a healthy frog stay in the right place that helped it pull itself all back together. See, if we have to learn how to trim these feet to help them correct themselves. So that was his foot, back when I first started trimming him. And you can see his foot got long, okay, and wasn't perfectly, in the capsule in weight-bearing unity like it's supposed to be. But his foot was still a good foot. He still had heel, things like that. But he was just, that's a pretty good farrier than that he leaves heel. Okay, but this is his real foot here. Okay, and it could even have been developed a little beyond this. All right, with a little bit shorter toe, not shorter, but lower here, and a little bit more here, maybe. Okay, so that you see this curve, that wouldn't even be there. It'd just be straight. So that is him when I first, started realizing who he was and what he had, all that. So you see the difference? So kind of some of what you get, what is here is what you have with that mare.
So with that mare, have you done the mapping on her?
I started doing the mapping on the 1 foot, that 1 foot actually, the same one that we were looking at. But so I did send something to you about it that day, I think.
Okay.
With some of the lengths and questions, but I was a little confused with the apex and all of that. I'm confused. I guess it's all confusing right now. But
Yeah.
I was confused about the apex, and then with the heel, which part is like the back of the foot with the skin and the bulb and the heel. That part was confusing.
Yeah.
About the bulb, I'm trying to figure out the whole thing. It's all very new.
It's okay.
So I didn't map all of them because I was kind of let me figure out this before I do it, because I don't exactly know yet. Should I try to get rid of this front apex part? I'm the person who would do less and end up not doing anything because I'm scared of doing something wrong, to be honest.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. that's
Have you
okay.
learned, have you figured out, or do you know how to find the apex? Have you seen some of the videos to show how
Oh,
to
I've watched the
find it?
videos. Yeah, I've watched the videos. For
Learning
sure.
where the apex really is versus, when you haven't quite got there yet.
Well, I did the line down the dorsal wall, but I think I need to use a tool to make sure I'm doing that straight as well. And then I did the measurements inside. And I sent a picture, like one of the last pictures I had sent that has it shown on there. And I'm also with the bars. It's just all feels confusing. I'm sorry. I
Okay,
feel like I should maybe
back
know
up.
it already, but
No, no, no.
I've abs
The question, okay, my question is, did you trim your frog before you
no, I
tried
have
to
not
find?
trimmed anything. No, I have
Okay, so
not
you're not
trimmed
going to know, yeah,
anything.
you're not going to know where the true apex is until you at least um, start trimming the frog to find it, because it'll be buried underneath old
Right.
frog.
So that's why I done the mapping on that 1 foot. I'd sent the picture and then I took the tool, like I picked it up for the first time and tried to pull it a little bit. It feels really hard and I was just kind of like nervous of not wanting to do the wrong thing because I'm like maybe I'll go too deep in there. I'm just scared to mess something up and hurt her and do something
What tool?
wrong,
The knife?
basically.
The knife?
Yeah, the knife.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I
I'm
mean, it
gonna
is
have somebody
scary.
help me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it is
gonna have
scary.
somebody help me, but I just wanted to be able to tell them, oh, okay, so this is what I'm trying to do on this foot, this and this, more specifically. Otherwise, because I just wanted to have like
Like, you know how I
more
teach people when they're first using a knife on a frog?
how.
I get a frog that's got, some size to it on the horse. And then I say, I sharpen the knife, make sure it's good. I show them how to hold it. I show them how to start up at the apex of the frog. And I'm like, when
There's
you
the
do it,
picture.
you can learn to peel it like you're peeling the skin off an apple. You can do it in thin slices and just work
Right.
your way down. You don't have to go deep the first cut. So you can literally just take the knife and scrape along the top, and you may cut some off, you may not. But eventually, as you start learning how to control the knife and just slide across the top of the frog and
Yeah, it
just
felt
take,
like rock to me, and I was like worried
yeah,
about what I was
water.
gonna do.
You can soak them before you do it.
I did wash them and everything,
Stand them in a puddle, my
first.
favorite thing.
Yeah.
But no, so I teach people, they're always afraid to use a knife on a frog. So the first thing I do is I get a frog that needs to be trimmed. And, I show them how to hold the knife. I show them, and I just take the knife and I just scrape across the top of the frog without the knife digging in, just enough to almost like you're peeling, like you're shaving your leg almost, where you just want to take the hair off, but not the skin.
Uh-huh.
And if the frog is really hard, it's going to be difficult to do unless you soak it and
Yeah,
get it.
okay, so I should soak it more.
A hard frog is hard for anyone, even somebody that knows what they're doing. It's very difficult.
Okay.
But you can learn to do it in stages. Don't be that afraid. Just, you're not gonna like cut the foot off. So just soak the foot, get it good and wet, even stand them on a wet rag. If the horse will stand on a wet rag for 10-15 minutes, will help.
Okay.
And then just slowly just build up your nerve and just slowly just go across the top of the frog and just remove. You may only skip and jump, and you might remove just a little bit, and you just kind of pretend you're using like an apple parer, only it's a knife, but an apple parer is a type of knife. And you're just going to keep pulling it back and slowly work. You can just work your way through the layers until you get more confident in holding the knife and doing it. It's just it's a learned thing. And once you start realizing that you have complete control over the knife, you'll learn to get not braver per se, but more adept at what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to clean that frog up to really start working on your foot. I mean,
Yeah.
Linda uses a grinder, I think. Don't you know, Linda, on the
Well,
on the
no, I
frog?
use a knife. I use everything,
Mhm.
anything and
I have,
everything I can.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
we have a trimmer at our barn that tells me she doesn't use knives because she doesn't know how to use them, and I'm like, oh dear God.
yeah,
But yeah, learning to use a knife is no different than when you were learning to cook in the kitchen and you had to learn to peel an apple. You had to learn to peel, whatever. You just do it in thin
I mean,
layers.
I'm gonna learn to use it. It's just like I'm definitely gonna figure it out. But right now, the first time sitting there, it was kind of like daunting because I
Yeah.
don't want to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, I don't
You
But
blame you.
will.
And
No, but
so
just
you
soak it.
guys keep talking because I'm pretty sure I did a video here not too long ago of
Go
taking
find
that
it.
down.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so if you soak this foot, just soak one of them. Do you have a soaking boot? They make soaking boots that you can use where you can put the horse in their stall eating hay and put their foot in a boot with some water in it for an hour. That will make that frog so much more pliable and so much
Okay.
easier for you to work on.
Okay, I'll do that.
Because
I'll
a
get
rock
soaking
hard
boots.
frog, I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 20 years. A rock hard frog and I are not friends. I hate it. I can do it because I know what I'm doing, but it's not pleasant and I'd rather not. And you have to have a
Yeah.
very, very sharp knife with very, very good hand
Yeah,
coordination to do
and
it.
you
So,
can slip and cut yourself on a rock
oh,
hard.
I have the
Yeah, the
scars.
knife should be sharp because it's brand new, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
I have scars to prove it. Trust me. But yeah, soak a foot. Just pick a foot, get a soaking boot or get a bucket. Even if you could just get them to stand on a wet rag and keep wetting it for a while, a wet old towel, something that'll just, smush up into the bottom of the foot while they're standing on it. And get the horse to stand or in a mud puddle if you can get them to graze
She'll
in like
stand there if I give her food. Yeah, she'll be fine with that.
I
No
find when it
problem.
rains, I find the low spots on the property where the grass is good and it's muddy. And I hand graze them for half an hour to an hour before I trim them in the mud. Because
That's a
I
good
know A,
idea.
they're happy, and B, their feet are getting soft. Because I can't trim without it. Their feet are like rocks otherwise. But get creative on how you can get one foot wet and soft. And just focus on one foot at first. But Davis makes soaking boots that aren't too expensive. They're like ankle boots. Where do you live?
Tampa, Florida.
Oh, so you're in the United States. Okay, so Davis makes soaking boots. I have 2 of them. My horse flips out every time I put water in them. Get over it. I just lock him in his stall with some hay. I go in with a watering can, for your garden. I just pour water in. He flips out, shoots water all over. I go in, fill him up again. And every time he does it, finally, he's like, "You're just going to keep putting water in, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And then
The
eventually,
towel thing might work too. Like if I
yeah,
have a
I
wet
mean,
towel and she's standing on it,
they get
if
used to it,
that's
but the
good
wet
enough.
towel will work. A wet towel,
Yeah.
a big sponge, like one of those car washing sponges, wet. If you can get your horse to stand on that wet. Get creative on, how to get water up in there for a while, at least half an hour.
Okay.
It will make it so much easier for you to start learning how to work on the frog. It really will. And it's really worth the time and the creativity to get it.
Okay. I'll do that.
Yeah, because like I said, a hard rock frog, you're not gonna get anywhere quickly, and it's gonna scare you that you can't get anywhere and how much muscle you have to put into it. And so when I have new people, I try to get the horses standing in mud. I try to get them out, in the wash stall, standing in a bucket, anything to soften it up for them, so that they can learn without having to put so much effort into it at first. Because if you slip when you're doing that really, really hard frog, more than likely you're going to get cut, not the horse. You're going to get cut. I mean, I made myself leather cuffs that would be like gauntlet sleeves.
That's smart.
I did. I made them out of scrap leather with Velcro because in the beginning, I kept getting cut so much. I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm going to kill myself. I literally made leather gauntlet gloves that covered my forearm.
Hey, Janet.
Yeah.
Amazon sells cut resistant arm protectors, and they're not very expensive.
I got some at Harbor Freight. I'm going to try them also for my rose bushes. But I mean, literally in the beginning, years ago, when none of this stuff existed, I literally went and got some scrap leather and literally made myself leather gauntlets.
I did too.
And I mean, that way, when the knife slipped and it hit the leather, nobody got cut. And that's another big fear is, somebody getting hurt. And it's usually the person holding the knife.
Yeah.
It's not if you get cut, it's when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
you got to get initiated. Got to get that immune system going.
I keep a lot of Band-Aids. I keep a lot of vet wrap at the
Yeah. One time I was trimming this horse, and not mine, it was some horse somewhere else anyway. He had really hard petrified frogs, and I was really pulling, and it slipped, and I sliced like, oh, whatever that part of your hand is under your thumb.
Oh,
Okay, sliced that open like really big, and I wasn't done trimming, so I had to wrap it with like whatever I could find there,
paper
and
towels and
rags.
vet wrap.
Yeah, and I
I
mean
do
it
that when I'm
was,
cooking and just keep going.
yeah,
You do.
yeah,
And
you just
everyone
keep
thinks the
going.
horse is bleeding, and they're like, I'm like, no, it's not the horse, it's me. They're like, oh,
It's
okay, that's
me.
fine. If it's the horse, the world ends. If it's the
Oh
trimmer,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I've bled way more than any horses I
Oh,
accidentally
I have
slipped on.
too. I mean, I have scars. You can like at work. My nurse at work was like, "Do you need an intervention?" I'm like, "What?"
Are
I'm
you
like,
sadistic?
"No." Well, she saw all the scars on my arms, which are in
Uh-huh.
the wrong place if you're going to kill yourself. But she's looking at my arms and she's like, "Do you need an intervention?"
That's funny. Okay,
Yeah,
I got that video.
show her the
And
video.
I also did some mapping, and I'll show you some pictures. Unfortunately, this one isn't as good as which I wish it was. But on hopefully I show on here how to trim down on that apex. Okay, because you don't have to pull back on it. Really, you just set your knife forward and like chop the chunk off in front forward. So hold on here. Okay, do you see it on the screen there?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. I'm just gonna play it. There's no sound. I'll just narrate. Okay, so I did want to do a video where I did all 4 frogs for people. But I think I lost some of those videos. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm like, okay, come on, loosen up, you stiff bugger. Let's see. I'm explaining stuff here. We're just gonna move forward. Yeah, yada yada, blah blah blah. Okay, wait a minute. This is where I rasp his foot first. I didn't do the frog first. So that's where I was explaining about rasping down till you get, I'm going to post this video so you can look at it. Let me go see if I can find the other one where I do the frog. Hold on. Where are you?
You have some good pictures somewhere. I forget in one of your latest mapping things that showed you how to hold the knife to get down to the apex.
Yeah.
It was in you did a pictorial off of the video.
Okay,
I got to go find it. But that showed a really nice thing on, what a true apex really looks like and how to hold the knife to get there to do it.
Let's see.
Because I saved it somewhere.
Sorry, I thought I had the video. Just a second here. Okay, there's nothing on that one. Okay, hold on.
My thing is, I tell people, take your fingernail, like if you have one, or
Okay.
the edge of the knife and go up to the apex. And if you can get the knife to go under anything easily, like there's any kind of flappy there, like a ledge, then you haven't found your true apex yet.
Yeah.
If you can take your
works.
fingernail, if you can take your fingernail or the edge of the knife and go up there, and you can still feel that the knife can go between the hoof and the frog, and there's like a little bit of frog going over your fingernail or the knife, you're not there yet.
Okay.
I don't have a fingernail personally, but
well, then you use the edge of the knife.
I eat mine. But no, so do you mean like
if the frog is overgrown, you're gonna have height at the apex at the tip. There's gonna be it's gonna be fat up there, and you're gonna be able to take the knife and push it up against the edge of the front of the frog and be able to cut. And as you get lower and lower, you should not be able to get the knife under the tip of the frog anymore.
It'll just
As
be
you
like
move,
straight, is what you
it'll
mean?
go, the frog will literally dead end into the sole, and you will not be able then, it'll be like a smooth surface. You won't be able to get your fingernail or slash knife. There won't be
So,
any more places for you to hook the knife underneath the frog tip.
Yeah.
okay,
Because it'll
so
just
this is what's
down.
confusing because my horse, like on a lot of her feet, she needs a trim. Okay, like I
Yeah.
didn't get her last trim, and I'm sure she needs sole taken away, and it looks like there's a deep hole around the apex, and
Yeah.
it's like I don't know what to do
Yeah.
with any of it. So that's why whenever I watch the
Okay.
videos, it looks simple, but it does not look like my horse's
No.
feet.
Okay.
So I
No.
don't know what to do. Like
Okay.
even when,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's watch this.
okay.
Okay, because I think I'll show you some stuff here, and then I'll show you on your horse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So all right. So on this, let's see here. Let me make sure it's all the way up there. Okay, so here you see, here's the tip of the apex right here. Now, what happens is, on a trimmed foot, there, it is seamless. It is a seamless transition between the frog and the sole. And so what happens is the frog grows and then it gets pushed down and it lays over the sole forward. And so what we're trying to do is just trim off that extra growth and get back to where you have that seamless area, which I'm going to show you here just a minute. Hold on. Now, if I can figure out how to get out of here.
It is tough on a horse where the hoof is concave, really concave, because the apex is shooting up into the foot.
It's deeper, yeah.
It is trickier, but you can still do it.
Yeah, you're.
That might be what she's talking about as well, that she's got a lot of toe callus buildup.
Okay, let me go through these here just a second. Hold on, I'm looking for a picture here. Oh, I don't know what I did. I'm going to have to go through these videos. Well, I'll show you a picture here of how much a frog apex can be forward of where it's supposed to be. Let's see here. This gives you an example, but this is a different deal here. Okay, now when I did this mapping, my mapping showed that my true frog apex was actually back here. But that's because the footage shifted. See, there's two kinds of things that happen. One, your frog apex could have just grown and laid over the sole, and so you just got to trim it back. Or two, your whole foot is shifted and pulled the whole internal frog corium back, and the whole placement of the true apex itself is going to change. This is two things that happen, and that's what happened on this foot. The whole foot shifted. You'll find that your whole foot will shift. But let's go back to the video because I'll show you how to try and just a normal true apex on this one here. Didn't mean to make it more complicated there than it already is. Let's see. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of watch this here. Just a second here. I got the right deal. Okay, I do got it, and we're gonna start here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my knife, okay, and I'm just gonna clean out some of the sole right around here. Just a minute. Just got to decide which knife I want to use. Okay. And see, I'm just getting the loose stuff out. And I'm using both hands. That's another thing, that you want to use both hands so you can control the knife.
Did you mute yourself?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did mute myself. Thank you for that. Here I've been yapping and okay, let me back up again. Good.
Whenever the arrow's moving around a whole lot and there's no sound, you muted yourself. Everyone.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. Okay, so sometimes I don't always trim it the same way. Sometimes I'll come in, I'll just start cleaning up the sole and the sides. Okay, and then I'll do the apex. Other times I'll come just right in and I will just snip off the front of that apex and then clean up around in here to where eventually you get so you can see where it transitions in there, where like it's just a smooth transition between the apex and the sole. There's no line. Well, there might be a little white line, but that's all. But let me come up here, go back again. Where am I at here? To where I trim off the front of that. Just a minute. Okay, see where I just take the edge of the knife and I'm just trimming that up there?
Yes.
It's pretty hard to hurt them right there. I'll tell you that.
Can you
You
blow
could-
that up a little bit, Linda?
Um,
Zoom in on that.
I wish I could, but there's no way.
Really?
I'm zooming in on it with my fingers though on my phone
Oh,
because I'm
okay.
doing this, so it's fine for me.
Okay, good. So I'm just gonna go slow here. See how I just taken the front of that off?
Like the
Turn,
in between, yeah. So
yeah.
it's not going to
See,
be like a hole looking thing,
right. I've
like an
turned
edge, really.
right. I've turned the knife around. Like I'm
Mhm,
not drawing the knife towards me. I'm setting it back on the apex and I'm
mhm,
taking it off forward.
mhm,
See? Let's see. Just and see how I'm using my fingers to control stuff.
mhm,
Like I'm not just trying to do it with one hand. I'm using my thumb and stuff as
mhm,
leverage so that I can kind of control stuff. So that I'm not just slipping around all over the place, you know. So
mhm.
you got to learn to use and control that knife with both hands.
Yeah, I've watched a video of the one of them that I bought that you showed me, and they had a good video on YouTube.
Oh,
And I
good.
turned the
Okay.
phone around and pretended I was doing it with my hands.
Oh,
So
I think
I've
that's
air
great.
trimmed, but
Yeah, I've thought about how people should do that. I think that's great. So, you know, and see, this is something you need to do with your horse too. See, is
yeah.
just start learning to exfoliate some of that sole out of there. Now, you can just watch this here. I'm gonna redo it so you can watch it again. Then I'm gonna go find a picture. Hold on. Get out of here. Okay, we'll just start right there. I'm thinking, is one of these sharp?
So the key is keeping the knife not at a severe angle to the foot too.
Yeah, as flat as you can.
You know, so you're scraping along with the blade, not digging in with the blade.
I think I got a front foot I'm doing too. I'll show that one just a second.
But right there, you can see how the knife is almost laying on the hoof. So it's skimming across the hoof and barely digging in.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people have to learn, is how to hold the knife blade to the hoof to get the achieved, result. And I'm jealous that your horse just stands there and holds his foot up there.
Oh, I know he's nice, isn't he?
My horse is such a tuckus.
Well, and then I got this one where I trim it up, but then I finish it up with the grinder. Kind of both. I'm trying to figure out.
I'm trying to think what kind of fruit or something that we could get, and it would be similar to frog, that we could have people practice on.
Like an eraser, giant eraser.
Something that's flexible but hard, and is going to make them learn how to, go. Like, that is a good idea, big eraser. But do they make them that big?
Probably
I
not.
mean, it has to be a pretty freaking big eraser.
You know, you can buy feet to practice on. Did you know that?
Yeah, but are the frogs?
I
What are the
didn't.
frogs like at that point?
Well, I don't know. But you can buy these fake feet to trim.
Oh, fake feet.
Yeah.
I wonder what they use, because learning to hold the knife and just practice doing that, where you're not afraid of drawing blood on anyone, would maybe help a lot of people get over their fear.
Yeah.
I mean, I just was like, oh, the hell with it, and just did it. I thought, if we bleed, we bleed.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have the same kind of, just, I don't even know how to describe it. I was just like, I got to do this, so just suck it up, buttercup, do it.
Do I still have that video going? I've lost it.
You lost it.
It went away.
It went away? Okay. I'll tell you what I do. I've got all these cadaver feet, right? And I got to do Holly's horse's foot. I mean, this would be a perfect foot to practice on and to do a video just on what you're asking me here. Okay, like, see this foot here? So this would be a good one to show you how to find the true apex.
I think that would be an excellent, and go over how you're holding the knife.
Yeah.
And I mean, really get into, so that people, like, they don't have, like, they can understand, like, okay, this is how I hold the knife. This is what I want to remove. This is how I pull it either away from me or towards me. I mean, really make it like you've never seen this before in your life.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are hung up on this first step.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
really concerned about knowing exactly how much to take where, and I know you have the mapping, but for some reason, again,
Yeah.
it's just very new, and I don't want
I
to take
I
too much of the wrong thing.
yeah, and I totally
Yeah.
understand, Okay, so I
Yeah.
want to go back to your horse's foot here. Um,
Okay.
let's see. I am lost. There we go. New share. Okay, so I want to show you something. Okay, now you see how when you map, you can see asymmetries, like look at this
Mhm.
toe here, and
Yeah.
then look at this toe here.
Hmm.
Okay, so this, for some time, whoever has been trimming this horse has been leaving this toe high.
Hmm.
Okay, and so if we go to the front view,
Yeah,
see it here.
I do. That was a
Okay,
question I had.
yeah, now see how low this side, the hairline is here, goes down like that.
Hmm.
But look how it's
Hmm.
rised up here, rised, taught me English.
Hmm.
How it is higher up here and the hair sticks out. Okay, and
Hmm.
look at the growth rings. How
Yeah,
now here they're still a little high here because he's made
they're
the
on
toe,
both sides.
yeah, the
Yeah.
toe square, but look more so on this side. See it?
Well, I was
See
going to
how
tell you when I mapped it, it was almost the same. It was like 3.5 is what I
mhm,
measured in the middle, and then
yep.
just slightly under 3.5 on both sides, pretty much.
Aha, see?
So I would have to remove that area, right?
Yeah,
But
you would take this down to
Mhm.
some and then
Mhm.
bevel it. But see, this is not just a matter of lowering this because your toe internally could be at the same height on both sides and distance from the ground, even though you have more hoof capsule and these growth rings go up like that. See, because this wall has been jammed up like this, so that it's pushing the coronary band up like that over there. And so what you'd want to start out doing is, yeah, maybe rasping down to lower this a bit, but then beveling this um, just even right along so you can see this line here. See?
So
And that
beveling it
will,
up from the outer, so the outer
yeah,
tubules is what you're
yeah,
saying. Is
yeah,
that right?
because that'll give this room to relax and move down. So, because see how it
Mm-hmm,
curves up
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
that?
Yes, I see
Okay,
that. Mm-hmm.
okay, up like this. Okay, so it'll fall down like that eventually, and the capsule will be fitting the foot. Which, yeah, that's clear, ain't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah, I know it's not. It's hey man, it's not rocket science. It's worse. Okay. Hey man, this is not brain surgery. It's worse.
Well, if she just starts following the basic, what did you say the dorsal was? 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If she just goes to her two, what do we call those lines on the side? I call them the 2-inch line.
Uh, yeah,
Whatever.
but they're not supposed to be 2 inches over that
two
way.
inches over,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
if
what
you
I meant.
just kind of take that down,
So
you
about
know,
a 1/4 inch shorter to start with.
yeah.
So when you say take it down, I
From the
am
bottom.
mm-hmm,
Okay,
from the
I got
bottom. Yeah, show me that.
okay, I actually did that in the video. So
Right.
let me go back to how
There's
I do
taking
that.
it, yeah, there's taking it down and then there's taking it back. They're two different things.
Yeah. The thing about it is though, when you take it down, it naturally also at the same time is taking it back.
Taking it back.
Since the wall grows down and forward, then I got the foot picked up and I'm shortening it. That makes it also come back. You understand what I'm saying? No.
Mm.
Yes, because the size of the circle, let's pretend it's a circle. If you would file the circle, you're coming into the next inner ring. So the whole circle gets smaller because you've
Mm-hmm.
removed height, which removes the outer ring, like on a tree ring.
Mhm.
And it's like this, like, okay, here, I'm going to draw a foot. Okay. So the wall grows down,
Yeah.
down from here and forward. See how it's growing forward?
Yes.
Okay. If once it starts growing past here, it's still growing forward. See there?
Mhm.
Okay. So then if I took off this much here, instead of being here, it's going to be here. See there?
Mhm. So
And then if
that's taking it down, but it's
yeah,
also taking it back. Is that what you're
right,
saying?
right.
Uh-huh.
And so then
Mhm.
if I trimmed off this much more, instead of now the toe being leveraged here, it will be here. And
Mhm.
so if I come up to here and I take it clear up to here, straight back, like even, let's just say the hoof capsule is just like this. And each time I'm taking off an equal amount. Okay. Then by the time I get up to here, I've taken it back, I've taken it down, but it's also come back because of the fact that it grows down and forward.
So that's like taking it back the right way by taking it down. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
So you're saying to do that with those areas there that are longer,
well,
and then also to bevel it so that
you
so
can,
that
yeah, you can
no.
do some of that, but you've also got distortion. Okay. Meaning like, okay, see, the problem we have is that instead of just being one solid unit, okay, you got a foot in there and the foot is permanent, but the capsule, it moves around and forms to the foot in different ways when it's been trimmed incorrectly or it's been allowed to grow too long. And these leverage forces kind of move it around and do things. And so, unfortunately, you just can't always just take it down and back because if if now, if the capsule were perfect in a perfect world, that would work good. You know, um, let me see here.
That's kind
So
of what they do with the heels. They take them down, which they say brings them back, actually, now
yeah,
that I think of it, right?
yeah, and it brings them
But
back, but it takes them way down too.
right. Uh-huh.
See, and they don't see that though. They just go, "Oh, bring the heels back. You're bringing them back under the back of the foot." No, you're
Mhm.
taking them down and you're pulling the cartilage all down to the ground where it doesn't want to be.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then what else are you doing? You're taking a just a minute here. You're taking a horn tubule that's supposed to be like this. And
Mhm.
once you cut that off like that, it's
Yeah.
sitting there like that.
Yeah.
See, you've changed the angle of all these structural tubules.
This is the
And
part that all makes sense to me. The part that doesn't make sense is exactly how to do it to bring it exactly the right
yeah,
way. So this part, I feel like I've learned so much from everything I've
good.
watched of yours. That kind of clicks in my mind, I think, but it's just having to do it to make it go.
Yeah,
It's kind of like so many different pieces that need to work together that it confuses me, I think.
yeah. And so
But it makes sense.
So you always got to keep in mind what has the capsule done? How is it fitting on the foot? And so in this case, just a minute, let me close this thing. Hold on. Do the annotate again. There's always an exception to all the rules. See,
Right.
because of hoof distortion. Like like if you had a good foot with normal heels and uniform sole thickness. Just a minute here.
I feel like if I had one of those feet, then I could like follow your trimming and then that's how I feel.
Yeah,
Like that would make
exactly.
sense to me. But now I'm like from the way it is now, I'm like nervous because it's all weird and different than what I've seen in videos of yours
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, exactly. Like if you had a normal foot, you'd have your foot internally would be
in
kind
the
of
right
like
spot.
this. Like here would be your foot. Oh, we want a little more sole than that. That would be your foot right there. And if all this was fitting just right, like that'd be great. But what happens is this wall here on this foot here, this wall here, the foot is still the same distance pretty much from the ground, probably. Okay, see, you got your distance from the ground right here, like your sole would be in here.
Mhm.
Okay, well, right to there. That's the distance of the foot to the ground, say. And so if your hoof capsule was fitting perfectly here, like you notice you got more over here than you do over here.
Yeah, I
Ideally,
did. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, ideally, see, it should be about looking like about like so,
Mhm.
like that. See, that
Mhm.
would be symmetrical. But what has happened is because if a person leaves this toe high, and then your growth rings would not go up like that. See,
Mhm.
they just all be however it's supposed to look, something like that. Looks something like that. Okay. So you're always trying to think what's going on with on the inside of that foot. Let me undo this. Okay, so what has happened is because this part here was left long, the weight, the horse waiting on the wall, because this wall it starts growing up here and it slides down like that. Okay, so if the wall is high, it doesn't have enough, it's going to take the path of least resistance and it cannot slide down and out past like hoof wall
Yeah, so it's
growth.
pushing up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it pushes up gradually. And so that's why you got these rings like this, and that's why this is clear up here. This one, whoever trimmed naturally took this side down more and left this side high.
Mhm.
Okay. But the foot internally is probably still just like this. Okay. Got something running it just like that. That's that foot internally from the front view. Okay. So you can't just level it up here or you're going to run into the foot itself. You have to take it down some, but then you have to bevel it so that it's not bearing weight, so that all this hoof wall will be encouraged to drop down, to excise its way out of the capsule so that the hairline drops down here and it fits this foot again the way it's supposed to instead of being jammed up into here. All this has to be able to relax, and this coronary band here come down here, and then all the hoof wall relax out of here. See?
Both sides are pushed up though, too.
Yeah, both sides are, but this side more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've done this plenty of times because there's been times, even though I knew this, I wasn't paying attention, and my toe quarters got high, and then they pushed up. And so yeah, let's see here. Let's see. You'll get it. You'll get her figured out. You're just going to want to do kind of a basic trim for now. You know, yeah, you're not going to want to do a whole lot of corrective work. We can start just by you even just learning to take down these sides of the toe a little more. See, learning how to take this foot down evenly in the sole is trick, and how to make sure your toe is starting to get shape, because this happens because they're not shaping the toe right. And they're allowing too much wall to be in the sides of the toe. And gradually, that's what happens here. And you can really see it from the other side too. Let's see. Wait a minute. Get this out of here. Okay, so see, on this video I show where I start showing where I just take and start rasping this down till I hit some clean white line and then barely the edge of the sole. So you would want to rasp this down until you just got a little line here of sole to learn
Okay,
how
so
to.
that's safe.
Yeah,
That's
it is
safe to do.
safe. It is safe, and
Okay.
you'll see it appear.
Mm.
And see, I did that's what I was doing this
Yeah.
video on. Actually, was not on trimming the apex of the sole, but on showing how to. Just a second here. How to take these walls down. So
What
I'm
about
gonna,
like the bars area there though? Like, isn't that area, don't you see a lot that has to be cut back on the side there?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but we can only like think of one piece at a time. You know, I mean, I wish I was there with you.
I know, I want you to, I
all
want
I
you to
would,
have a little clinic and I will go to your clinic. That's what or you can come. Do you want to work that out? Because
I'll
I
tell you
want some
what, see,
hands-on.
I'll just do some videos this week
Okay.
and I'll trim some of these
Oh.
cadaver feet and I'll post these videos I got because this video that I did, I think will really help you. Just a minute here. Let me see what I'm doing here. Hold on. Because I was going to show how you rasp into these feet. So let's just watch. Let's just watch this video.
Okay, I do want you to look at one of her
Okay,
back rear feet before we
let's do
stopped
that.
today, so I
Okay,
could look at that.
Okay, hold on. Oh, I wasn't ready to stop, but
Okay.
let's see. Where am I at? I'm lost. Let's see. New share. Okay, did you post the picture to me?
Oh, it's all the way back. You mean the rear one? It's in the beginning when I first sent you everything. So this was very recent when I mapped, but this was like before that. It says BL for back left.
Okay.
It's like towards the beginning of the messages.
Okay, so we're looking at this foot. I will post these other videos. See, now you know how I was showing you how I was using that knife and I was cleaning up sole. That's what you need to do in here. See, you can get that knife under there and just lift all that up. See, just like what I did. This is all exfoliatable stuff here.
Okay.
Right in here. Remember how Janet was saying, just keep that knife really flat. I mean, you're just barely skimming stuff off.
If she's really
like
nervous,
shaving.
how about the Evo Soul Rasp?
Oh,
yeah. Is that the one you told me? I bought that one. You told me and I have that. I do have that one also, yeah.
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 And I told you too that I'd do a virtual trim with you if you wanted.
Okay.
To where we get together and we'll spend a couple hours and have you trim one foot. And what you do is you just got your phone with you and you show me pictures and I say, okay, do this, that, and the other thing. And then after you do it, then you take a picture and you show me and I'll tell you if you did it right or not and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. So
and for a nominal fee, Linda will travel to Florida.
Will she? It's really hot right now, so
yeah, no thanks.
It is horrible all hours of the day, pretty much.
No thanks. Yeah, no thank you.
I don't know. Is she near the beach?
Yeah, I'm pretty close to the beach, but unless you're like undressed, like by the beach with also an umbrella over you, it's still so hot. I don't know. Everyone thinks the beach in Florida is great, but maybe for like 1 month at the either end of the season. Other than that, it's so bad. Terribly hot here.
Okay. Let's see. Now I got to go way back.
Yes.
But yeah, while she's looking for that picture, the Evo rasp, what color did you get? Black or white?
She sent me the picture of the white one.
Okay, there's
Should I
two
get the
different ones.
black one?
Well,
Yeah,
the
I
black
saw that.
one's just more coarse. The white one's finer. I bought the white one first, and then I learned to use it. But then on hard soles, I went and bought the black one because it removes more material per stroke.
Okay. I'll get one
But
if you think.
learn on the white one. But once you learn how to start practicing with that, you can do a lot of that exfoliating stuff on your sole without the
Uh-huh.
fear of knife slippage. And you can do
Uh-huh.
a pretty damn good job once you learn how to pull the rafts towards you. It will remove quite a bit of material for you. I
Okay.
use my sole rasps a lot instead of the knife,
I'm
just
looking.
because
Go
you know
keep
if you
going back. Those are it was when I sent like a chunk of them together. That was one from the farrier that had done it. It's before that. So it's before that chunk, I think, if you get out and go
Okay.
scroll back.
You see how her
Yeah.
periople's stretched here, and
That was when it
she,
first happened, I noticed. Yeah.
yeah, she just wanted to pull up out of her capsule. Okay, why isn't
Should I
that?
get like x-rays or something? They're like what, 280 a foot or something
I
now.
don't
It's
think
insane.
that that's gonna do you any good.
yeah, it's not
Okay.
going to get you anything.
You know. Let's see.
So if you just scroll up, 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 and then you look at there's like a few chunks that I sent you at once. Back more, yeah. Back before that.
So have you played with that sole rasp at all?
No, I had just gotten it like 1 week ago, and I was like hoping to kind of have a conversation about this a little more. Um, but like I said, there's a girl that I'm gonna have, I think, help me a little
Okay.
bit.
The sole rasp is fun, but you got to remember it's
Keep going,
curved,
keep going.
so you have to
Yeah,
angle it with your hand.
there you go. That chunk right there. Okay, so towards the bottom, the one, let me see which one it is because I have it open already. I think it might be, no, I think it's actually the last one, the very last picture I sent you. Click on that one. So yeah. So you see how like the wall's coming away towards the heel, like well, towards the back, towards heel area, how it looks like it's flaring out. Again, maybe this is just
Here.
normalish. On the sides almost. No,
Oh,
that's
here.
yeah, they're
Here.
on both sides.
Okay.
Like, is that something that people just clip off? Like that looks like it's going in deep. I'm always scared of like,
Well,
going too far with it.
see,
Hmm.
what it is your wall and your sole are not connected
Connected.
right. So
Right.
you can't really, yeah, you don't have to take that off or like that. Because okay, you know how when the horn tubules aren't in the right spot, they're not
Yeah,
connected
just
with the sole in the right
mhm.
spot, and so the heels being trimmed out, it pulled and pressed all that forward, and so all those horn tubules growing down are not connected to the
Yeah.
right place where the sole is supposed to be.
Hmm.
Okay, and so it won't be until all this, because see, look at all this bar that's pressed forward and all this
Hmm.
excess stuff.
And so if you see by that frog, the apex area of where it shows, see how it's like really deep in there,
Yeah,
around it. That's why I'm like, I don't know what's what in that area.
yeah. Well, her foot is, I'm sure her foot is bent, like what we talk about. Here, let's look at some more pictures. Let me go the other direction. See,
Oh, that's the same one, but I hadn't cleaned it out enough, I
yeah,
guess.
see, the bulbs and everything are just pulled down, and the heels are all, bent forward, from the heels being trimmed out.
And I think her two left front and back are the worst for some reason. And this is like over 2 weeks ago now, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So now
Yeah,
they're
and
even getting more.
yeah, see that periople there, how it tries to hold on to the foot. That's what's going on there. And so yeah, her
Okay.
heels are trimmed out, and so just growing, you're gonna have to grow this part to allow her to add capsule back into this foot. Yeah,
Yeah,
see
so how do
that?
you
Yeah, see how that's pulled down? and stuff. So this area is allowed to grow. And so as it does so, it will lift this area up. But I will help you.
Yeah, because
see?
the back one there, it looks like it's like that contracted, like tightened, folded in, right? Or I don't know, like it's more standing up there in the front, and like the toes not sticking out like the front one,
Right, yeah,
like the front foot. Yeah,
yeah. The dorsal wall is not
dorsal wall.
pushed out like it is on the fronts. Usually on the fronts, it's worse. That's why
Right.
that does that and stuff. Here, mostly just the back was forced down like that. So it'll be and probably this side isn't. Let's see, that is that the other foot?
No, that's the same one,
That's the
but
same
that's
foot,
the
lateral. The
yes,
other's the
lateral.
medial. So
Mhm.
so your medial side is trimmed out more than your lateral side, which is what I did to my horse as well. You know, and see, this is being pushed up some too. See that? Up into
Yeah.
here, you know.
I can't tell by the rings there.
Probably if
I
we've
don't
seen
know.
a front view. Well, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some videos on how to start taking this down. Okay.
Okay.
From
Yeah, because I
here,
feel like it's so squished and small. I don't know. I'm scared that
yeah,
like I'm gonna take off too much when it's already not there.
yeah,
And then
yeah. So you're going to want to leave heel from here to here. You're going
and
to
this
want
is
to,
the right. See, this one's not as bad as the other one, is it? Or is it? I don't know.
they're
This
both
is
similar.
bad. Okay.
See how
Yeah.
that's pulled down, how the bulbs are being
Yes.
forced down
Uh-huh.
under there.
Yeah, that's
That's,
the right
yeah.
one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pushed up
Now
still there. I
see
see it.
how
Yes. Uh-huh.
these four horses, I'll tell you. You know, they're
Yeah, and
so
her
wonderful.
feet are like kind of turned, like her one back right
Yeah.
leg. It something when she was born, apparently she's got weird hock and she's got stuff. So the fair or the
Is
barefoot
that
trimmer
what they
said
told you?
she
Well,
said
she
that
don't know what she's talking about.
well, she said
It's
that
her
can
foot.
create the difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. The difference was how
Oh,
they were trimmed.
that reminds me of something else that is totally perplexing. Like, how do you decide about like what looks balanced when you're doing it? Do you have like as far as with the leg and everything? I don't know my question.
That's all right. I don't know how to answer it.
Like
Are you trying to
like
say that like if your leg has got it's not like perfectly straight, how do you know
yeah,
you've
like
got the hoof right to go with
yeah,
that
like
leg?
how yeah, like if it's like if the flat sole or when you're looking at the sole compared to the leg and the angle, that's kind of like something that is confusing in my mind. Or is there something to be done with that?
For
Like,
me,
how do you look at the foot and the hoof with the leg and the body to make sure the sole
yeah.
plane is kind of balanced
Well,
properly?
see, here's the thing. I don't look at that
You
because
don't?
there's
Okay.
nothing you can do about it. All you can do
Okay.
is understand what's going on with the foot to pull the leg into that position. Okay? And so as you correct the feet, the leg will start to straighten out.
Okay.
Okay? So obviously whatever's going on with her foot here is pulling her foot into that position. And she has to stand a certain way. Those feet were meant to stand a certain way only. And when the capsule is not correct, then the foot itself cannot function properly. And so if the foot can't function properly to support all this, it's going to pull this. They're going to have to compensate with their body what their foot is not functioning properly as. So the whole object of this trim is to get the foot where it's supposed to be so it functions correctly so that everything on up can function. Because all the functions of all these parts depend on that foot. And so when the foot ain't right, the horse has to compensate. Just like when your shoes aren't right, you
Right.
start compensating. You know, you could wearing a blister on your foot. You know how you start walking a little different?
Yeah, but they can't take their shoes off.
Right. Right. And so they have gradually learned to walk different and compensate. I mean, that she looks very uncomfortable. You know,
Yeah.
what I see
And
there.
she just the other day, for the first time, I think I don't know if something else happened, because like I said, she ran around and acted a little crazy with another horse, and she's been now looking a little like lame, like that right foot she's
Yeah,
stepping and kind of like twisting it a little bit as she
yeah,
steps.
yeah. Because she can't step normal because she's foot bound. Hoof capsule bound, the heels are trimmed out. Her whole bulb and back has been pulled forward down and bound in, you know. And so yeah, it is literally like Chinese foot binding. You know, it's like I went over to China and took a bunch of poor ladies whose feet were bound and made them run a foot race. You know, there's a reason why they took little bitty steps everywhere,
Yeah.
you know. And you know, when it makes their hock here twist in and out as well. See, they're not supposed to twist in and out. They're supposed to go straight, you know. Do you see that? See, when you watch the
Hmm.
horse walk, you'll see this twist in and out, you know. Not supposed to do that. And see, even here, see, I see like this is almost an upright foot, and that one's almost maybe a little longer or lower. But you can even see here where this portion of the foot has jammed up and it's raised. Even in this little tiny picture, I can see that. And I can tell here how, man, she can't even hold that foot. Not only can she not hold it straight, I mean, it's like the whole thing just looks crooked, but I know that is not a birth defect. Her foot is being forced to stand that way. She has been forced to compensate with her body. You know, these people have just the farrier you talk to, the barefoot trimmer you talk to, they've been given all these lame excuses. Now we know why they're called lame excuses, huh? Hey, I just thought of that. That's
Listen,
probably,
everything goes back to horses. I've noticed ever since I've had a horse, all the
yeah,
sayings, I think.
yeah,
Isn't that weird? I noticed that.
yeah, yeah.
It
I just
probably
thought
is.
of that. Well, that's a lame excuse. See, I
Well,
guarantee you that's where it goes.
that's too funny.
Yeah,
Her leg was though from the lady that because I ended up they gave me her phone number. I got her at a rescue, but then they gave me they went back to the lady that had bred her in the beginning because her dad's some special horse. Anyways,
so
they
maybe she
said
did have some sort of a
they
defect.
said there was something with her hawk, okay? But
Okay,
I still looks like from her pastern area still looks twisted out more. No, I don't know. It's something
yeah, it
looks a little
does.
extra off to
It
me
does look
there.
off. Well, whatever they're doing to their feet, you know, here's the thing too. A lot of times they have the same farrier trim the same horses for a generation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So who's to say he didn't have, you know, a bum leg and when he got to this foot. So let's see here. How did they do it? Like, okay, where who knows? Maybe by the time he got to this foot, he was tired. you know,
Yeah.
you know, or let's see. Does he trim the front two first and then go to the back two and then trim that one last or what? Because I noticed that on me too. By the time I got to the last foot, and I would always start on the same foot. I start on the oh, what was it? I had them tied up to the tree. What? Okay, start on the right front, do the front feet, and then the hind feet, and whatever foot's last gets the least whatever. You know, you're
So
tired by then.
you gotta switch up which feet you start on each time,
Yeah,
so that
That's a good advice.
the one foot isn't always the one getting the least amount of attention.
yeah. You got that one foot gets way too much attention. You know, it's kind of funny. Okay, so I think are you busy Friday?
No, you want to help me do one of
Yeah,
these trim things? Let's do it.
yeah, let's do. We will do it Friday.
Okay.
What time?
I am Eastern time, and what works for you? I mean, I honestly Friday's pretty open.
Okay, let's do it at about, and I'll get some videos together for you to watch in between time. And
Okay.
let's do it at say 11.
11 your time?
Yeah,
Okay, so that will be, what are you? You're a couple hours behind me?
yeah,
One.
Okay.
one
So
hour.
1. Okay, that'll be really hot, but I'll be there.
Oh, well, we can do it earlier. I have no
I'm
problem.
just
Let's do it. I can do it in the morning if you want. I could do it at 7 my
But
time, 8 your time.
you know, another thing that you can do before
Yeah.
Friday, get
What?
yourself a good floor fan.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
electricity out there, but maybe a battery one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, there
that's
you go.
So
okay.
there's
I
no
will do that.
electricity. Oh, that makes it tough.
Not
Because
where I'm at back
good,
there. No.
yeah, a good floor. Like, is there electricity in the barn anywhere?
No, nowhere in the whole, no, not where I'm at. It's not going to happen with electricity.
Okay, I was just thinking a
Mm-mm.
floor fan will really save you a little bit.
Are there any good battery operated ones?
I don't know, but you have a generator. I mean,
I do not.
in that heat, of,
It's pretty bad.
Hey, you could probably find a battery operated fan somewhere.
I'm gonna
you
look. I
know,
wrote it down.
because like a fan, a couple feet in front of you, aimed right at the legs, and keep fly spray handy, but a fan
Mm.
aimed right at your, the first foot and a half off the ground. When it's really hot and humid up here and I can't see squat, I cannot work without a fan.
Yeah, I believe it.
You have to have some kind of airflow so that like you can, see what
There's
you're
just
doing.
sweat dripping in the eyes. Yeah. No,
Yeah. Well, we're just
Oh,
gonna
wait,
do
wait, wait,
one
wait.
foot, and then you
yeah.
could
And a
do one
headband.
foot that day and one foot another day. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Okay.
Maybe we'll just go around and just find the apex to the frog on all 4 feet. I don't know yet. But
Okay.
I will help you more than this one time. What's more, we'll do it on Zoom so that we can
Yeah.
record what
Okay.
we're doing.
Okay. That'll
Okay?
work.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Well, that sounds good.
Okay. So what is your time zone?
My time is middle of the US. What
It's
do you
not
call it?
central. It's
No.
mountain or
Oh,
central?
no, it's Central Time.
Okay, so you're 1 hour behind me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
7 my time will be 8 your time. Will that
Okay.
work?
Sure. I will be
Okay.
there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want you having a heat stroke on me.
It gets bad so fast. You're sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I would do one if that's the only time you can do. So don't worry. If something changes, let me
No,
know.
that's okay. I don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys
Thank you.
this last video, and when it's over, you can just check out and let's see here. I want to see if we got the sound on it. And okay, so now I remember what I was doing in this video. I wasn't doing this video to show people how to trim frogs, although I did trim a frog in the video. I was doing it to show you how the foot is concave, and as you rasp into it, you run into the sole ridge and you start to see the sole ridge. And to help you understand that. Now, another thing you have to remember is my feet are tightened together. They're not all, well, half of his foot's flared out on that one foot, but he hasn't got a real long flared toe or anything like that because so the sole on my horse is under the toe of his foot. If you have a really long toe, the sole might be stretched forward, not quite under the foot. It might be the foot itself might be a little closer to the ground. So see, there's always
That's
these
what scares
exceptions
me.
to rules. And well, you know what? Here's the thing. As you rasp into the sole, okay, the foot is going to warn you if you get close. You know how you just barely scrape your skin and you'll get a drop of blood, but you haven't cut into your flesh, right?
Mhm.
So so you could do a one swipe of a rasp and you would see a drop of blood leach through the sole. It's called the sensitive sole, and the horse don't even feel it. Okay. You'll see just barely a drop of blood leach through the sole, and that tells you what? Oh, yep, okay, stop. You know, sooner or later, people do it. It's just a matter of course. Okay. Now, of course, we don't want to do that, but we're in a situation where we have no professionals that know the truth. We're having to help our horses because of the damage that they have done, because they've been taught falsehood, errors, and falsehoods. Anyway, so I'm going to show you guys this video. Just a minute. Gotta find it. Oh, no, that ain't it. Let's see here. This is on a back foot, and what I wanted to show was, yeah, okay, so let me get it started here. This, let's see, how long is this? This is like 7 minutes, okay? So hold on, let me stop. Let's see. Got that there. Share. Oh, that ain't it. Hold on. Let me try it again. I gotta close a couple things out. Hold on here. Gosh. Okay. Well, we're gonna close that out there. Screen sharing has stopped. Okay, let's try it again. Okay. Screen share. Oh, I closed that. Okay, here we go. All right. Let me know if you can hear it once it starts. Okay. Uh-oh, I'm on mute. A second. Can you hear that? Hello?
Very, very soft.
Yeah, press play again. I barely heard anything. I heard a little
Okay.
bit of something. No,
You can't hear it? Yeah.
it's so faint that I can't hear what you're saying.
Okay, just a second here. Let me see if I can fix it. Let's see. New share. Okay, share sound, optimize video clip. Okay, I think that might do it. Where'd you go? Now tell me if you can hear it this time.
Sit
Yes.
that back a little more.
Okay. You see it okay? Do I need to make it bigger?
Where the heck is it? I can't find. Oh,
No, it's
there
good.
it is.
Okay.
I'm going to show you by rasping how the convex sole ridge will appear when it looks, the foot only looks concave. Okay, and as I said, I was the first one to discover that the true, there's something under here. It's just a thing, I guess. I was the first one to discover the true shape of the sole by studying the sole corium. Just a minute here. This thing is just being difficult. Okay, oh well, that's gonna have to do. Now, come on, loosen up. loosen up. Now what you're going to see is I'm going to rasp down the wall. Be nice if I could, you know, nip it, but I'm not going to nip it. I'm going to just rasp the whole thing so you can see the wall go down. Then you'll see the edge of what looks like convex sole go down, but it's really, or what looks like concave sole. Because again, what happens? When the wall grows and you got a tight white line, the edge of the sole will hook to the wall and it'll be stretched out, grow out with it, hook to it, and it will look only concave. But in reality, it has got a convex sole ridge under here because that is the anatomy of the sole corium and how it grows. This about this wide, a convex sole ridge around the perimeter of the inside of the sole here, connected to the wall. And so then when the wall grows out, it'll take the lip of that and pull it with it, and so it'll only look concave. But what I'm going to show you is how, I wish I could get a better view of this. Just if I could pull it up. There's, let's see here. I thought there was a little thing to make it come up. See, now if I let go of his foot, he's gonna move it. So let's just put it up like this. Tighten it. And then kind of, well, if I get my stupid arm out of the way. There we go. Okay, you should be able to see it now. As I progress, you'll see the magic, the convex sole ridge appear. My foot, give it here. Relax. Put it back. Okay, so we're just gonna start rasping down the wall here. We're starting to see the white line. See where it's turning yellow?
If you have a tight white line, you will see it. If you've got a stretched white line, you're not going to see that. And your walls also have to come straight down.
Okay, put your foot down for a second. I'll wipe the sweat out of my eyes anyway. Rest that other foot there.
Poor boy.
Okay, give it here. Up we go. Stiff-legged bugger. Now you start to see the wall go down, and if you got a tight white line, you're going to see the white line, which is really yellow, appear first. Okay, now I'm barely hitting the convex sole ridge.
Now see there? See that white? That's when you're starting to run into the ridge, and it'll get wider to about here. If the wall was only convex, you wouldn't see that. See, it would just stay thin like that all the way down. But what'll happen is this here. So you got your wall from here to here. Then you can just barely see some of the white line, which is really yellow. I guess they couldn't confuse you more, right? Okay, right there. And what is that white line that's really yellow? that is that biological glue that the sole ridge emits into the wall, the lamina of the wall, to glue the sole to the wall. And so the sole is glued to the wall right here. And then on the other side of that is your convex sole ridge that's about, altogether, this whole thing is going to be about the width of a wide web horseshoe, if you count the wall and the white line and the convex sole ridge. Nice wide webbed shoe. So again, these farriers, none of them know the true anatomy of the sole. How can you design a correct trim if you don't even know the horse house is supposed to have a convex sole rim of sole here? And then right about here is where it gets convex, or no, wait, right, concave. God, I get confused. Right under the coffin bone, it gets concave, but around the rim, it's convex. Okay.
See, here's something I'm finding out here, is he's got a bit of a stretched white line because I haven't trimmed him soon enough. And it's a little wide here. But I did this other foot, same thing happened there. And as I rushed down a little bit more, it went narrow again. Okay, but can you see that? Well, and that's the sole appearing too. Okay, the sole is starting to appear. And you're starting to see the convex sole ridge around the perimeter here. Yeah, I should have trimmed him sooner. His white line stretched. Okay, so here is the convex sole ridge. Not as big as on the front feet. Okay. So you see how it looks only concave, but as you rasp down into the foot, you run into that sole, which is convex.
Okay. Let me go ahead and put the next one on there.
Is there any time or any foot configuration where you shouldn't do that?
I'm sure there is.
Like if you have a really run forward, flat,
Yeah,
pancake
you
foot.
can't. Oh God, I gotta, just a minute. Hold on. Okay, I'm doing the same thing on another foot. Yes, there is. Okay, there we go. God. Ugh. Yeah, this is if you have a tight white line. You know, this is if you have a pretty compact foot, tight white line. If you got a flared foot, no heel, thin sole, you're not going to be able to find this. Usually.
That's my job again, is to say, hello, there are times when you shouldn't do this.
You're supposed to be God's advocate.
I'm sorry, but I just
that's what you are.
Do the wrong thing at the wrong. They do the right thing at the wrong time.
No, I'm very glad that you are saying this. Don't get me wrong. Okay.
No, I just want to keep people from doing epic failures thinking they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're the red button, man.
Well, I've done it. That's why I keep thinking about all the times that you shouldn't do it. There's always, like, so this is a foot that has heel. This is a foot that has grown quite a bit of height in the back.
Yeah.
And his tubules have connected and he has got a stronger foot all the way around.
Yeah.
My horse, I can do it kind of on the front, but the back feet, forget it. No, I'm not ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, there's exceptions to all the rule depending on what kind of foot you have. See, that's been the hardest part about doing this and trying to help people understand, is that where my foot is might not be where your foot is. And so if you do that, it's not going to work out the same. That's why it takes time. You got to learn some of this stuff. You got to learn kind of what a good foot is. You know, you just can't go like it says, fools rush in where angels fear to tread.
Okay,
Okay.
so when you do videos, I think when you're doing a video,
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing it on a healthy hoof to show us what it should be when it's a healthy hoof, that's awesome. But I think in the videos you're gonna need to put like these alerts.
Yeah.
This cannot be done on a foot that has not A, grown heel, B, this, and C. And
Yeah.
in each video, say my hoof has got this configuration. Do not do it on a hoof that has no heel, no this, no that.
Yeah. Or big
Yeah,
flare
people are
toe. Can you imagine? Like, okay, has anybody ever trimmed a horse where the wall grew straight down and right at the ground, it grows down vertical like the whole wall is supposed to, but as soon as it gets to the ground, it's horizontal
right,
because it's so curved,
right.
you know,
You can trim a horse.
flares.
If somebody does this and they trim into live sole thinking they're looking for that sole ridge,
Mhm.
their horse is not going to be able to walk.
Yeah.
Okay, I
I've
have a
seen
couple questions based on what you just said.
Okay.
Will you not get a warning? You said that they go
Yeah.
into live soul ridge. Will you not get a warning first?
Yeah, and another thing is you do is you press on that sole, and if it's not hard, you don't take nothing.
Okay.
You know,
Even
and
so, even if
stuff.
it's been soaked and everything, it'll still be. It's not the
Yeah,
same. That's
it'll
just the
still be
frogs.
so. In fact, here's an interesting thing about a horse with good soles. Okay, the more water they get in them, the harder the sole gets. How weird is
Really?
that? Yeah, I'm not kidding you. When they got good healthy sole, their sole is still hard. Now the dead stuff will get flake away, but the
Right.
live stuff just gets healthier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what you're showing on my horse, the way my horses look, does that seem like that would be okay or no?
Yeah, you will be able to take that wall down. Your horse does not have big flares and stuff like that.
But
So
will she be
you will
able
be
to look for a sole ridge?
yes, absolutely. Yeah, there will be some sole ridge there in that foot.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Thank
but I'll help you with that Friday,
Okay.
and we're
Okay.
gonna video that,
Yes.
and we can do it on Zoom too, and anybody wants to join in can come hang out.
Okay.
Just if that's okay with you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Linda.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
it's Terry.
Hi.
It's Terry. Kind of been sleeping and just observing here, but is there? I tend to leave a little bit of wall around. Like I can't do
That's
that on
okay.
mine, even
Yeah.
because it's real rocky and the ground's here. So don't you
Yeah.
think like environment would
That's
be
that.
a
Yeah.
factor of whether if I did that, mine would not be able to walk. I have to
Yeah.
leave her like a wall, so I don't ever go all the way down like you just did there.
Yeah, that's okay for what you're doing and stuff like that, but it's still something just in general, this form of rasping people need to learn. Even if they just go down, barely to the level of the sole. Okay,
Yeah.
you still need to learn how to take that wall down. And
Yeah,
because
that's what I
taking
do.
it down is taking it back. And once your horse gets some sole, and if he's got too much sole and stuff, you really need to learn to do that. Everybody needs to learn how to take that toe down in front. See? Especially if you've got jammed up walls. Especially if you have like retained sole a lot of times. Because you get it down to the level of the sole, and then you just bevel the walls up, smooth them out, and let that horse walk around for a day or two. He's going to knock, if he's got retained sole, he's going to knock it out. See? And then
And why can I ask
literally,
why is it that your horse shouldn't be doing that all the way down?
You're talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really like it's extreme. I live in Kentucky and my pastures are like red clay and rocks and it's really hard. And like I've got one out there that runs around like it's not even nothing. You know, she doesn't bother. She's got really good feet. They've never been trimmed. But my other horse, I have to be really careful. If I get her down too much like that, she's extremely sore.
Yeah.
So I try, like
I'm
right
curious
now,
about this because I thought that was better for their feet, and like over time they would get better soles from that. I because mine's in super sand, it's terrible, I think, and I've almost thought about putting like pebbles or rocks in there, but isn't that not better?
Well,
Well,
it depends on if the horse has been badly trimmed for a long time before and they don't have good feet to begin with. Because like Terry just said, she's got one horse never been trimmed.
Mhm.
See?
Okay.
And
So it's not something that like little by little they would kind of.
yeah. I mean, it would be my
That-
horse was absolutely crippled when I first pulled shoes
Okay.
off of her because it was, you know, she was trimmed out from a farrier from an early age, and when I started transit, but now she's out there barefoot now, and I'm just
yeah.
I do get a little gun shy about taking her down too low because of that reason. But
Oh yeah.
Well,
And see, I didn't take very much off this horse, really, considering.
yeah,
you know
like,
what
I could take
I'm
a
just
meter off of her.
and I'm just using this as an example to show you where the sole ridge is. Okay.
Yeah,
This video isn't like a trim instruction video.
yeah.
Okay, to where this is the next step. Absolutely, you have to do this and stuff. What this is doing is showing people where the sole ridge is, and like and also showing like uh, if you have a high toe, sometimes you are going to have to take down a little more on one side or something like that. See? So, yeah, not exactly this everything. It's like what Janet is saying. Man, there's always exceptions to the rule.
the
But what I
rock
want
thing,
you, what?
the rock thing Kim's talking about, I think is coming from the barefooters where they tell you
Yeah.
you have to put pebbles in
Yeah,
and toughen
yeah,
the
that's a
soles
big
up.
bunch of hooey.
It is,
Yeah, I
but
think
that is
Yeah,
so prevalent and that you're
Probably.
supposed to put in river rock paddocks and then you're
Yep.
supposed to put in sand and then you're supposed to
Yeah.
this and it's going to
yeah, make a
toughen the
walk on
soles up.
rocks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's all baloney.
It
and
is.
stuff.
I think that's what she's referring to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Pro-
it's like
probably.
who was it? Oh God, I can't remember names now. But
Yeah.
one of them trimmers had one of this one gal I know, Jan. Oh, can't remember her name, but had her haul in tons of chat all
Mhm.
over. You know,
Pierre
it was in
does it too.
Arizona. He trimmed the horse for 7 years, is still a cripple, and
Right.
said, "Oh, well, it's not in a natural enough environment. You need to haul in chat." And I mean, who knows? She spent thousands of dollars hauling in chat. You know, little
Pierre
tiny
does that
gravel.
where you can send your horse down to him and he's got all these different paddocks that he
Who?
sends your horse. Casey LaPierre.
Oh,
What's
Yeah.
his
see,
name?
you know why they do this? Because see, their trims don't work.
Right, but
Okay.
then he's paying you pay to send your horse down there and go
Yep.
through all the paddock for him to then say your horse, just will never be able to do this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the
Here's your horse
genetic or
Yeah.
after they
Thoroughbred. If it's a thoroughbred, you're screwed because thoroughbreds cannot have feet.
yeah
Yeah. That's what mine is, and that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
out there now because of chat.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, look at that foot right up there. See, that's look at how the bulbs are up off the ground.
We need a screen share.
Oh, wait, where am I? I'm lost. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, there we go. Just looking at his other foot over here. Now, these are still a work in progress, okay? But he's sound on all of his feet. But see this foot up here, see the bulbs off the ground. And recently I found I've been really collecting pictures of wild horse feet, and man, you really see them with their bulbs up off the ground.
Mhm.
You know, that bulb skin is not on the ground. Anyway, okay, so this is the other foot, and that's what I was doing. I was going to show again, all I'm really wanting to do with this is show you the rasping taking the wall down, which takes the wall back. Okay. And then how, if you keep rasping, what you'll see is that you will start to hit the white line, and then you will start to barely hit the sole. And the more you rasp, the wider the line will get here in the sole. You'll see it like this foot here looks concave, just concave. Okay, but as you start to rasp down here, okay, right there, I just barely ran into, I'm getting into the white line right there at the end of the toe. Okay, and into the white line, like over here too, but it's still a dirty white line. Ain't down to a clean white line yet. Now the object eventually, when the foot is correct and everything is together, is that you ought to be able to do a trim, barely hit the sole, get a clean white line, not only all the way around here and in the bars as well. That's would be when a foot is together. And then if you kept rasping, you would see this convex sole ridge appear around the whole thing. So let's see, let's go forward a little more here.
What I've been finding on a lot of the horses I trim now, after, doing them for a while, any area that appears to be long, by the growth lines or by just looking at the hairline, I'll look at the foot and go, that area's high. And you know what? Every time now I file the way you're filing, I find bruising in that exact area.
Yeah.
It's uncanny now. I'll go, that spot's high, that spot's high, that spot's high before I start. Flip the foot over, start filing slowly, and damned if I don't find bruising in all the white
in that area. Yeah. From the
just
leverage and the weight.
area.
Yep. Yeah.
And then if I gently file, it goes away.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
because
it's uncanny.
Yeah, it'll bleed because the pressure on the wall pushing up is
Right.
causing separation or movement in the lamina that doesn't need to be there. And so it bleeds a little bit, and then the foot is so porous that it will leach down into the very bottom of the sole here and stuff.
People need to understand that that is not a horror moment.
Yeah, no. If you see red like that, that's totally different than if, you got.
Right. And I mean, like the first time a client saw it, and I'm like, calm down. The foot was really tall there. I took one more file to it and it almost disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that happen a lot. Okay, so that's a good view there where you can see the wall. Now this is what I want you to know is this is level. This is level right here. So it's not concave at all up to right here. This is all flat. And that's how thick it is. So you see there's the white line, here's the wall, and just barely touch the sole right here. Now, if I was to keep going down, this line here would widen up and it can get up to this wide. And then you would have a flat surface. This wide, just the same width, even wider than a horseshoe. See, to where you see this convex sole ridge, the white line and the wall all connected as one. And so in a horse whose foot is correct, he will have this shoe, this self-grown shoe on the bottom of his foot. It'll be an inch deep and an inch wide at least. See, surrounding the perimeter of the bottom of his foot. So let's see here. Okay, that's a front foot, and I don't think I did anything. Did I do anything? Oh yeah, I was gonna show you. Okay, remember about retracted sole? Okay, what they call retracted sole. Okay, now this foot hasn't been trimmed for 5 or 6 weeks. Okay, So the wall grew out, it pulled the sole with it. I mean, it looks concave. Let me go back here. This I thought was pretty interesting, that in the toe, part of the sole came loose. And so look how it looks concave over here. Let me move this. Look how it looks. See, this would just look concave over here. But you're kind of seeing a little bit of lip of sole ridge. But here the sole did not stick with the wall, but it came loose. So it just kind of curled back there. See? So, okay, so then I'm going to start, just take a rasp, and I'm just going to start rasping down to where I run into the sole. So in the front feet, he's got a lot more sole ridge than the rear feet, and his walls were pretty long. So that's all retracted sole is its sole that did not stay hooked to the wall so that it looked concave, and it was moist out, and so it became detached, and then that excess sole just sucked back is all that it was. It isn't sole. See, the way they describe it, they don't even know the shape of the foot, for crying out loud. That what they're describing as retracted sole can't actually happen. So let me keep going here. Just go ahead.
Because I'm going to take a wedge shape, thicker here, thinner back to here, out of this foot in the front. Now you see that sole ridge up here?
Get up here. Okay, so see how he's got a lot more sole ridge. Now his front feet are further along than his back feet. And so he's got a very well developed sole ridge here. He's still got
I had it in all four toes.
A lot of concavity right under the bowl of the sole here, under the coffin bone. But here you see how thick how wide the sole ridge is, and I haven't taken him down that much. His feet are still almost 3.5 inches long, from the hairline to the end of the dorsal wall. So let me just go up here forward. See what I got here. And here I'm just measuring them, how wide it is. So where's that 1 inch mark? Oh, 1 inch here. So 3/4 of an inch from there to there. How wide? See, that ultimately is the surface they're supposed to be walking on. They grow their own shoe, just like a horseshoe.
I guess that's why when I was talking about mine, she has a sole ridge, obviously. I mean, it's there, but because it was so trimmed out, her heels, and it was stretched in and everything, her foot was more flat. So if I don't leave that wall, her foot was too flat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now she's getting more of a cup, and getting a little more depth. So when it rains or whatever, I try to get try to do some trimming then, so I can get some change things, and it's not too hard. But that's why I've always had to leave a little wall, because her foot was so flat.
And I'm all for that and stuff too. What I'm trying to show here is how that sole ridge is there, and how ultimately when the foot is right, they grow their own shoe, just like a horseshoe. See?
Yeah. And that's where the wall is being my shoe until I get that depth and that. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
to, like you said, you have to know where your foot is. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I'm not saying everybody should go do a trim like this.
hmm
See, I
Oh
did
yeah.
this specifically to show people how that sole ridge is there. So, okay, so the farriers don't even know that it's there, right? So,
Mhm.
okay, you
Yeah, they
take
take their knife, cut all that
right,
out. They just slice all
right,
around there. That's what mine had done from an early age, so it's gone.
yeah.
So
So then you take a farrier out and you throw him out with a bunch of wild horses, examining their feet, and they see this big sole ridge in the toe. Well, as far as they know, horse ain't even supposed to have that, right? So what do they call it? Must be a callus. Must
hmm
be a toe callus. It's not a toe callus. Okay, it's sole ridge that's supposed to be there. It's just that you've been cutting them out for 2.5 centuries, thinking the foot is concave. See? So let's see here. Anyway, and I'm gonna. What was interesting about his feet lately is they're all moving back. Everything, like all the toes move back, and now the heels are also straightening out and moving back, and a lot of the asymmetries that I had on the feet are coming out of them. So happy about that. Anyway, let me see what I got here.
When was that video done?
When was this done? When were you done? Okay, so I know, okay, so it was done maybe 3 weeks ago,
Oh, okay.
something like that. I screwed up the date on my camera. So the camera date is not showing right. So anyway, but his feet right now are going through a whole bunch of changes. I can, let's see. I'll show you what I started with. Was that foot? Yeah. Okay, so that's the foot. Let's see, new share. Like I said, I had not trimmed this foot in a while.
That spot in his toe, will that close up by itself? You know, that kind of that where it loosened up.
Probably that never. That is a crina, and he had them in all 4 toes at one time when I was trimming the heels out. And I
What's a
thought he
crina?
had keratomas.
Back
You
up,
know,
back up. What's the crina?
a crina.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can explain it. It's where the toe has slightly worn away, and it develops like a divot in the toe, and then it'll get a black spot in there, like mold, and you can't hardly get rid of it. Now he don't really get that anymore, but he's still got a strange sort of separation there. Now on all the other feet,
I have one with like a real big soft spot. His toe has a tight white line, but it's got to be 2 inches in front of the apex. And this like soft crater developed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the? It's real soft.
What the heck?
And I'm like, it's slowly hardening and slowly filling up as the back of the foot starts moving.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, what is that big soft spot?
Yeah.
You know, like you could put your thumb in it, like a thumbprint.
Yeah, it's because the toe is too far. Is not under the foot where it's supposed to be. Like in here, if you look and see, well, I mean, he's going to have that in this foot anyway. But also, if you look and see here on this foot, and it's been probably 4 or 5 weeks since he was trimmed. So the foot grows down and forward, right? So, and his foot is still not totally under him where it's supposed to be. See, when you trimmed the foot out, it slid the sole right out from underneath the foot.
Yeah, this horse has got a foot so far in front of him, you don't, I'm like, how's he even walking on that?
Yeah. Okay, that is the other foot, I think. Or that might be the medial.
It's just creepy and scary at the same time.
Yeah. So On this foot, I want you to see something here that the toe is totally coming back, but the heels have not fully come back yet. So now I'm waiting for this part to move back. Because see, what happens is your whole foot's going to shift as all that anatomy under here comes back and up. Because it all got shoved down and forward and stuff.
Linda,
So
can I ask a quick question?
yeah.
Okay, so take your arrow and go right at the top of the coronary band, right? Yeah, right there.
Yep.
In the back where you were.
Right
okay,
here.
right there. When you start, I've got about maybe an inch little bruise right there, like a little line right along the coronary band on all four heels. Like I'm not freaking out over it, but I'm wondering, is that because it's starting to kind of push up?
It could be pulling up. You'll see it get red there in the skin,
yeah.
like especially if you got a white
yeah,
feet.
if you go towards the toe, it's horizontal, right along right in the little inch there, right where that it would be in the back by the heel, just about an inch long little bruise right there on all 4 feet.
Right here?
Yeah, towards the toe. Yeah.
Towards
like if
the
you go
toe.
from that hand towards the toe. No, I mean it's at the heel, but go forward an inch, and that's right, just like one
right
little
here?
inch. Yeah, one little straight line, inch long little bruise right there on all 4 feet.
Well,
just to.
Has it been raining?
Oh, well, it is now, but it happened. It was before it was
Yeah.
raining. Notice that.
On white feet, you're going to see everything. See, on these dark feet, you don't see it. And
it's nothing to be concerned about. I was
No.
thinking, I remember before you talking about when them heels, it's got to grow down and then it's got to push up. And I thought, well, maybe that's happening because it's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
But it's nothing to be concerned about.
No, you're going to see that, especially on white feet.
Mhm.
So a lot of movement going on here and a lot of growth when you're growing in the heels and all this anatomy being pushed up and back to where it's supposed to go.
Because when I saw it, I kind of thought of as a good thing. I was like, maybe she's finally getting that pushing up.
Right.
So.
And like look on this foot too. Look where the horn tubules are. Now. See that isn't supposed to be like that. This horn tubule here has to come back here. And then all these got to come back under the back of the foot here. See how weird that looks? See, now this is your real foot, but all this is supposed to be back under here supporting this. Back here.
Yeah, and I've noticed they go through stages. It'll look that weird hump like that.
And yeah.
Away, and then it'll happen again, and then it'll go away. It's like as it's getting bigger.
Yeah, and depending on how you take a picture of it. Like, I don't mind looking at that picture. But I hate those.
But at least them heel balls around. That's what I've still got.
Yeah. And stuff. I think this is medial side of that other foot anyway. I'm not sure. But anyway. Okay, well, all right. I guess we'll finish today early. Yeah, we're gonna finish early. So
well, I'm glad because I didn't get to start until late. We had company over lunch, so.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Yeah, I was here late too.
How is Valor? Did I miss that in the beginning? How is Valor doing?
Well, he's doing okay. He's not sore. There's no swelling in his leg or nothing like that. We're just gonna have to see if that piece is gonna adhere. If not, then it would have to be cut off, and then it'd take a while for skin to cover it up. And I mean,
God, are you wrapping it, I suppose, or doing anything?
Yeah, I'm wrapping it and putting some good stuff on it and stuff like that, and
Did you ever
Linda, do
figure
y'all
out
have-
what he did?
Yeah, he stuck his foot through a fence and pulled back,
Mm.
and
Oh, for Pete's sake.
an old gate that's been there forever, never had any problems, and he just decided to go up there and stick his foot through the fence. So
Well, of course he did.
yeah, of course, you know,
Mm.
and stuff. So yeah, it really bummed me out and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, if he's gonna get cut up, I wish he'd cut up his leg or something like that, not that cartilage on that foot that I've been working on extending and getting that foot. You know, that foot is the one foot I also did all the experiments on for the first time, where I saw how the cartilage really expanded. It was that foot, that side,
Mm.
and stuff like that. So that was really disappointing. And
Well, now we can watch the progress as he heals, right?
yeah, exactly. You know, exactly. Irregardless, I got 3 other feet doing the same thing to him.
Is he
So
lame?
he doesn't want to stand on that foot as much.
Mhm.
You know, when if I trim that other foot and he's like standing there, you know, and so when you let go of that one foot, he slaps it down.
Mm.
You know, because you think about it, there's so much pressure up in here. You know,
Mhm.
this periople band, he sliced right through the periople band.
Mhm.
So that band, that belt ain't there, you know.
Mhm.
I was thinking, that makes me think maybe I could take some sort of glue and glue it. Anyway, well, hey, you're all wonderful, and okay, so I guess I have a date for 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Friday morning. We're gonna do a virtual trim. It'll be on Zoom, and we'll post it, and we'll see how that all works out.
Thank you, Linda. I will see you
Okay,
then.
hey, looking forward to it.
I
Okay,
appreciate it so much.
okay, guys, hey, well, till next week or whenever, we'll talk at y'all later.
Bye.
Thank you
Okay.
much.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.